Good evening, everybody. Just tightening my microphone. I'm trying to anyway. Righty tighty, lefty loosey, right? How is everybody? Hopefully everybody's having a good weekend. Saturday, y'all. No, Donna, we never did see the ending. I even looked today. There was no ending. It's like it cut off and then that was it with the court proceedings. I'll double check again tonight. Maybe they uploaded it, but yeah. Turning my fan off me a little bit. I have a cat with me tonight before they jump and before they jump off and they leave. And I have a dog in the closet. And the dog in the closet's not the normal dog that's around. So welcome on in, animals. I'm so surprised they're in here. I tiptoed in here and I shut the door gently and Miss Araya's just curled up in the closet. It looks so cute. She looks so sweet. She doesn't even realize she's locked in the bedroom with me. So it's kind of cute. Even though this is like a studio, I call it the bedroom because that's what it used to be. But welcome in. If you have never been to this channel before, hello, hi, and welcome. My name is Tanya. That's my cat, Rocky, back there cleaning himself right now. You're going to get me banned from YouTube, Rocky. I'll give him some privacy. He needs his privacy. And then I got Araya with me too. So I've got a whole crew tonight. Open panel, got Araya, got Rocky. Look, he's just back there with his leg just clean up in the air. My gosh, of course that's what my cat would do. He's so funny. And Jan's she's been working this weekend. How's your trip going, Jan? I bet it's crazy working on the weekend. I'd be like, you're on your own, sir. You're on your own. We got Nancy here too, of course, Nancy, which we don't have my tree back there. And it's looks a little bare. I need the tree. But my cat was chewing the tree. Or the little plant I had. So Vincent was like, I'm going to rescue this from Rocky. So I need to get me a little new decor. Isn't Rocky the cutest, Michelle? He's my baby. That's my baby. He's 14 years old. I've literally had him my whole adult life almost. Seems like it anyway. So if you guys don't mind taking a second, to hit the like button, that'd be great. And Judy said, I watched Duty Ron's live and he said October 2nd. Yep. That's what they're saying. But the defense as of right now, they do have that extra 37 days that they are able to use. So I think if all else fails for them, they're going to use those 37 days to fix themselves. Your chat keeps stopping. I hope that's not anything I did because I did log in on another account. I'm going to copy and paste this link in the chat for you guys. It's my second channel. I'm trying to just grow it a little bit. We're going to, I don't know what we're going to do with the channel yet, but it'll be something fun. It'll be something worth subscribing to. Even if it's just, me acting goofy, it'd be fun. But I'm going to put it in the chat and I'm going to try to remember to do it throughout the live. And then also for the last 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes of the live at the end, I have a post-it note. So God help me, I better remember. We're going to do it on members only. That way, if the chat just gets really heavy, because sometimes it does on Saturdays, I'll be able to see you guys. Because sometimes I'm like, where is everybody? And then, because we did that a couple weeks ago and it worked out really well. So seems like Judge was not playing. He was not. So he did deny, let me go ahead and get my notes out here. So, actually, let me do a couple of little things really quick because I was a little late. Of course I was. How was I not late? I was I've been sitting in here for 2 hours too, or 3 or 4. I don't know. It's been a long time. I've been in here probably since 1 o'clock today, actually. I think we got back around 1. I was going to go to the pool and then I didn't. I just came in here and I just started working and doing stuff for the live. So I usually have that message pinned at the top. So I'm just going to throw my messages in here. If you want to become a channel member, I always like putting this in there myself. We would love to have you. And hi, Miss Linda. Look at her in here for evening live. I love that. Hey, Summer. Hey, Sally Mae. Hey, everybody. Hey, everyone's coming in. Isabel, how's your dog doing today? Good. Good. Hope so. Just going to go back up a little bit and scratch my eye because it's ooh, my eyelashes are itching. Oh, struggling to stay awake. Oh, you could go to bed, Isabel. You could always catch us on the replay. I know you're probably tired. Girl, you're like, you need an award. I've been looking through our old chats because we've been going back in time with our lives. We've been doing Idaho, and when we've been covering it, we've been going like back in time. And I just see Isabel in all the chats, and I love that. I wanted to tell you guys a couple things though, because you guys were talking about the hearing yesterday. So basically what happened, like before we get started with tonight's program, I wanted to kind of touch base on what happened yesterday anyway in court. Cause it was a long day for us on the live, and I didn't expect for them to have 5 hours or more of testimony from experts. It was like a little trial day almost. It was like it was getting us ready for trial, I felt like. I just hope the rest of the experts aren't as boring, because some of the first expert, the guy with the glasses, he was just like so like monotone to me. Like, I don't know. I was like, where's your drawings or something? So I might have to give us some sketches or something, some drawings to put up while we're watching the trial. And then the second lady, I liked her. She explained things a little better. And then the third lady was Vargas, the one with the red hair. She seemed to me like she had an attitude. Like she almost had like an attitude to her. And I was just like, ooh, like every time she would talk, I'm like, felt like she was going to like hurt someone. Oh yeah. Thank you, Dawn. I see it. Thank you. Thank you though. I saw that. Maybe we can play that. Let me see. I just don't know where we were. Like on the, but I think we were like pretty much right when the judge was talking, I thought. It seemed like. And then it was just like, it was like gone. It was like, oh, there it is. Oh, is this it? Okay. I'll just get it to where the judge is kind of talk. Maybe does he talk the whole time? Or, I can't hear him. Hold on. I was just trying to see if, oh, you know what I could do? Hold on. I have an idea. I have a good idea. I'm going to go and figure out exactly where we were yesterday, because we could pick up from there. I'll just keep talking to you guys and going over my notes with you. If I go to last night's live, because it cut off. We were like, and I'm no quitter. You know me. I was like so upset about that. We even like waited and looked at another live or another program. So let me see here. It was after all the testimony. I don't know where it was at though. I hate to play like all of it like over again. You know what I mean? But I wanted to make sure you guys caught it. Hold on. It says 3:12 on his little time clock. I'm trying to read the little clock on the judge's thing. Okay. So now let me go back over here real quick and see if. Okay. So this will be like the last 50 minutes of it, but it'll get us there. Do you guys want to do that? And then we can kind of go into what we're going into tonight. We'll just do like half and half, a little half and half action. Is there anybody that didn't get to see the full, like the last part of the how we'll start with that? Put a 1 in the chat if you didn't get to see the judge talk about the court proceedings yesterday, because we were streaming it live. Well, when they were getting it, we were streaming it, and the judge at like Law and Crime or Court TV just cut off the judge, and I was just like, what happened there? Put a 2 in the chat if you've already heard it. Put a 1 in the chat if you didn't. That way, if most of you have heard it, I don't want you guys to have to like hear it again. But oh, cool. Looks like everyone's on my page. Dominique and Melissa and Steve. Okay, cool. We'll play it. We'll play it then. Even better, because I haven't seen it either. And because on East Idaho News, they were putting it in clips, and I liked that. They were like, putting it in chunks, and they had it up to part 4, but then it was like no part 5. I'm like, yeah, this is the good part, Donna. This is the part we wanted to watch because we knew that it was going to get really like it got really good in there because we were watching the experts, and I'm like, okay, it's going to get good, and then it was like it cut it off. So it starts at 4:11, and it'll go to like 5 o'clock, but it'll give us some context to what's going on at the end. But I will let you know that they were supposed to hear like 6 different motions, and let me know if you guys, and maybe we'll hear it now, but I only remember him ruling on the discovery motions, which was like 2. He said he would do those at a later date. And then the proceeding or the motion to stay the proceedings, he denied that. So no stay of proceedings for Kohlberger. Judge said, get on with it. Like, you guys have had enough time. So this is it. The lady is back with the gray hair, though, too. I'll go ahead and start playing this. If you guys don't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, really helps. Thank you guys all for being here, too. Appreciate that.
I guess we'll start with the state on the motion to reconsider the order setting time for speedy trial. That is also somewhat related to the second motion to stay proceedings. It was filed July 25, 2023. Why don't you go, Mr. Thompson? Oh, no, Ms. Beatty.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we're asking the court to reconsider its order, wherein the court issued a limited tolling period, I guess, or stay, specifically for the purposes of extending the speedy trial period by 37 days. And we filed that motion mainly because we're just concerned about the record in this case, and we're concerned that where Mr. Kohlberger has essentially stipulated to there being good cause under the statutory speedy trial statute, we're concerned that should he try to invoke speedy trial later, and should the state disagree with that it could create a very genuine issue to be litigated and possibly on appeal. Now, in the defense's reply brief, their response basically seems to be, well, he didn't waive his constitutional right to speedy trial. And the state didn't argue his constitutional right to speedy trial or bring that up because we don't think that there's enough there at this point. That's not to say that if the court were to apply that analysis, it would necessarily come to one conclusion or another, but that was the area of concern for the state, is the statutory speedy trial. And the statutory speedy trial issue is under Idaho Code 1935-01, which provides that a defendant whose trial has not been postponed upon his own application, that their case can be dismissed if they have brought to trial within 6 months. Well, what we had in this case is the defendant filed his initial motion to stay, basically saying, I intend to try to get this indictment dismissed. I don't know how yet, but if the court could just issue a stay and give me some time to figure it out under Idaho Code 2-213, then I'll have time to review the materials and find a way to attack this indictment. That's a litigation strategy. So if the court's response to that litigation strategy was to issue an order stating, well, this statute doesn't provide a basis, but I'm just going to extend trial by 37 days, our concern is that should the trial then get continued based upon the defendant's statement on the record that he agrees that there's good cause, that could really create some issues. It should also concern the court that the defense doesn't really argue the statutory speedy trial issue in the brief. They just say, well, he didn't waive his constitutional right. And that should concern the court as well. Are they agreeing that he's potentially going to be waiving his right or creating this issue down the road if the trial gets continued? I think it's messy, and that's a concern as well. The other reason that we really like the court to reconsider this order is that this very short-term continuance of 30 days used as a tool to give them more time to engage in litigation strategies. It makes it very difficult to have some predictability for the folks who will be testifying at trial, and more importantly, who will be testifying at trial and who will be under subpoena for an extended period of time. If we're telling them, hey, we have trial set on October 2nd, but hey, it might be moved another 6 weeks, so basically block out the next 12 weeks of your lives. and, that puts them in a bind. It certainly puts the court in a bind, when it comes to trying to figure out how we're going to bring in a very large number of jurors if we're using this as a tool either once or maybe potentially more down the road, I'm not sure. And I think finally, and this is, I guess, the larger concern is the victims in this case. I certainly wouldn't want to put them on a roller coaster where we have short-term continuances of a trial where we get right up to the date and then it's, okay, well, we're gonna move it, but it has to be done within the next 37 days. Because that psychologically, emotionally, and, travel arrangements wise, that is a very difficult position to put these folks in, especially folks who are loved ones of the victims who it would be very difficult for them. So we would ask the court to take that into account as well, but really primarily the speedy trial issue and the potential for needless litigation down the road, potentially appellate issues. We would just ask the court to keep trial set on October 2nd, and only if the defendant waives speedy should the court move that trial date. We would ask the court to reconsider its order. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. My understanding is that the defense wants to keep it at October 2nd. So
That was
that's
your
not
argument,
gonna,
Your Honor.
I'm not gonna kind of piecemeal it along the way.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I mean, the only reason I granted that in the first place is because they didn't have the right to get the grand jury transcripts and materials. They didn't have it yet, so that was the only way I figured we could do that, to let them go through the material, which apparently they now have. So, all right. Who's arguing this one?
It's a lot of
Okay, Mr. Loxton.
Okay, so we obviously differ a little bit as to whether or not we found anything off with the way that the grand jury went in this particular case. And I don't think the state probably wants me to get into the nitty-gritty on that on the record, so I'll just correct the record in that we disagreed when we said that we needed to do some sort of a fishing expedition. We believe that we already brought to the court reasons why that statement could be issued. My understanding of the state's motion to reconsider is essentially saying there's something wrong with this order. My response was, there's nothing wrong with the order. There's nothing wrong with saying that there's essentially a pause on the right to speedy trial. Now the state says, well, what about the statute? Well, that's a different area of litigation. And we can start litigating it now, but it doesn't seem right. So nobody has filed a motion to dismiss the case. This court hasn't even moved the trial date. And so if the question is simply, does the order for stay the court issued essentially is sort of a speedy trial has been moved for however many days, is that going to create some kind of litigation down the line? I don't know, even if the court somehow took it back, that would necessarily change anything, especially given our current circumstances. And I think, as the court's noted, nothing's actually changed in terms of when the trial occurs or anything else. And so, from our perspective, Your Honor, I guess we just say, I don't think this is right for the court concern itself with what does that mean in terms of statutory rights to speedy trial? Is that something that we're going to have to litigate down the road? Maybe, but I don't know if it makes a whole lot of sense to us to get into that one. As for the rest of the concerns the state has, I mean, right now, nobody is saying that parties are going to be ready to go. So, when somebody at some point does that, then the court will deal with it. So again, I would say a lot of these are hammering concerns that we're hearing. While understandable, I just don't think there's much the court can do about it. Okay.
Well, 6 weeks away, we're all in touch. It's really challenging, no doubt about it. Everybody's ready for it. Great. Okay, any response?
Your Honor, and I would just, I think just for, if nobody intends to utilize this order, I guess I don't see the harm in just rescinding it, so that we have some predictability as we're planning ahead. We've subpoenaed many of our witnesses. We're looking at making travel arrangements that would give us some predictability if the court, if nobody intends to utilize this order anyway. It seems like it would be a no harm, no foul situation, which is what I respectfully. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, before, we finish that discussion, I think we should just go to the motion to stay, the second motion to stay. And I think you're gonna argue that, Ms. Taylor?
I am, Your Honor. Your Honor, I am going to be as intentionally safe as I can. This motion to stay is grounded in Idaho Code 2-13. This is a very narrow look and something that would justify the court staying proceedings while the court looks into it further. This has to do with juries, a trial jury or a grand jury. In our circumstance, we're talking.
Do you think she would have like COVID? Like, and if she did have COVID, I mean, I don't know what the rules are about COVID now, Like, if you have COVID, can you still go out in public? You just have to wear a mask. Or do you have to still quarantine for 5 days? I don't know how that works. Because it's been going around, y'all. Oh, thanks to Summer. She gifted a membership. Daleen got it. Look at that. Welcome. And like we're going to, at the end of the live, the last 20, 30 minutes, we're going to do members only chat. So that'll be fun too. So make sure you become a member. But yeah, I'm wondering about the mask. I don't know why she's wearing one all of a sudden. She's never worn one before. I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, unless she's sick. Unless maybe she thought, I don't feel very good today. Let me wear the mask as like a precaution. You don't think that there's any rules? Yeah, I don't think there is either. I'm like, Mandy Joe, I went to my doctor the other day and walked in and I went and grabbed my mask. Like, they have the disposable ones there. And I grabbed it because at the hospital, you have to wear like the disposable ones. You can't bring your own. And I look up and no one's wearing a mask. I'm like, what the hell happened? Did the floodgates just open back up? Because, I had just been there like 2 months before and there was masks. It was just crazy. I'm just very, very, I wonder why she's wearing it. So I'm curious. And I'm wondering, like I said, just like in the OJ trial, they made him put that glove on. If they don't fit him, you must have quit. We want to see the mask. If I was on the jury, I would ask to see him with a mask on.
Grand jury. We're looking at if there was irregularity in how that grand jury ended up being the ones that heard the case. We are looking at the way the panel was convened, how the individual jurors ended up being brought in. Was it a public setting? Was it a public polling or calling of these grand jurors? And were these jurors people that had not sat on other juries in that same panel? Your Honor, one of the big areas that we recommend the court stay proceedings and look into is the impact on the number of jurors that were called. The number of jurors that should be brought into a jury, according to the statute, is going to be dictated by court order. In this particular case, Judge Gaskell, I believe, maybe Your Honor, issued the order for 45 jurors to be brought in. 32 were brought in. We don't know why. I can't find any record that tells me why that happened. But that's quite a few shorter than the court ordered. And I think the court should stay proceedings and look into that. That matters. That matters because of things that happened within the grand jury. I'm not going to go into those now. Those are things that will become, if we can get an evidentiary hearing, we'll talk about those things. Those are also things we'll talk about when we challenge the grand jury indictment itself. But they matter. There's a reason a court orders 45 grand jurors in to appear to be chosen or selected to be the seated grand jurors in a case. And that didn't happen this time, and we don't know why. There are irregularities on the face of the juror questionnaire. There are some that don't indicate the juror number, the panel number, the wheel number. Those all have to have something to do with the public selection of the grand jurors or the calling and the seating or the list that's brought about to choose those jurors from. I don't know why there would be differences on the face of those grand jury questionnaires in that bit of information. Some had all of it, some had some of it, and one had none of it, including a juror number. Some of those people sat on the grand jury that heard the case. That is an irregularity and one that we should have an evidentiary hearing and understand if this is a properly convened grand jury to hear this case. Additionally, there are areas that have to be questioned of a potential juror. There are criteria and that in any grand juror has to meet. Some are the ability to read and speak English. Some are to not have a felony conviction that prohibited one from serving on a grand jury. There were irregularities on the face of those documents as well. The court should stay the proceedings and allow an evidentiary hearing to determine what, if any, impact those had on the grand jury indictment.
If you guys can't really hear Anne or like understand her, she's just talking about the grand jury and how some of the questionnaires that they had given to the grand jurors weren't filled out all the way, improperly filled out. But I'm pretty sure that the rebuttal for that is going to be, it's not the prosecution's job for the paperwork, it's the clerk of courts, because we read over that in the legal documents. So I think that's what he's probably going to end up going with too. But yeah, she's just kind of going on about the grand jury.
There is another issue that was part of the sealed affidavit in the first motion to stay, and there are still questions about what impact, if any, that had on the seating of this grand jury. Your Honor, without going into the exact examples of things, which I think constitutes an evidentiary hearing, we're asking the court to issue a stay in this case and allow us to have an evidentiary hearing and go into those issues more fully.
Your Honor, the Uniform Jury Selection and Service Act really just governs the process utilized by the court in bringing in a jury, in maintaining juror roles, and in regulating the court's processes. The Act sets forth some pretty specific criteria, but there's a lot of allegations that have been raised by the defense that don't fall anywhere in the Act. One of the things that they addressed were allegations of potential juror bias against the defendant. And I think that's what's really being referred to when we talk about a smaller number of jurors being called in than they're summoned. But typically, at least in my experience, court summons in a large number of jurors, knowing that there are people who are going to be excused for one of the permissible reasons in the statute, and there's no indication that isn't precisely what happened in this case. Now, other areas that were brought up were irregularities on the face of questionnaires, specifically numerical information in the upper left-hand corner that was referred to. Again, that information is not required by the statute. There is nothing in the statute that requires a jury commissioner or a clerk to maintain that type of information. And in fact, if the court were to go to the Idaho Supreme Court website and pull the standard jury questionnaire form, none of that information is included on the form. So whether or not that was an internal issue with the clerk's office or the jury commissioner's office, it is certainly not an issue that would require the court to stop this case invoking 2-213. There were allegations about the way that some of these jurors filled out questionnaires. Again, I don't dispute that the jury questionnaires require certain information to be filled out, but it's not, the Act doesn't compel jurors to do that or govern the jurors' behavior in doing that. Instead, the Act sets forth the remedial steps that the court or clerk's office or jury commissioner's office is supposed to take when that occurs, and they haven't even made that allegation, nor have they asserted that there's anything in the other materials that give them reason to think that there were issues related to one specific juror who failed to check one of the boxes. Now, the other thing that came up in that motion was that there were jurors that the presiding judge, I believe, had praised some of the jurors for a handful of jurors who agreed to serve despite having other obligations. Again, Your Honor, this is really, really stretching the purpose of the act. This conduct is not really forbidden by the act. The act does not prevent a presiding judge from thanking jurors for their service. This motion to stay should be denied. There certainly has not been a substantial failure to comply that has been alleged. Arguably, there hasn't even been a failure to comply to the extent that these allegations deal with things outside of the act. We would ask the court to deny this motion.
Yes, Your Honor. Idaho Code 2-208 requires that there be a public drawing for the grand jury. The jury commissioner is charged with having a random list of jurors and calling the jurors for them. I don't know what other information I could be in possession of at this point without an evidentiary hearing, other than the irregularity in the upper left corner of the grand juror questionnaires, all of them, all 32 of them. There are differences between both. I think that is probably how those are tracked, the random nature of those are tracked, but I don't know. There's not a mechanism where I am going to have that unless we have an evidentiary hearing. So pursuant to the statute, that raises a question. Your Honor, further in the statute, the number of jurors was required and ordered by the court to be 45. All of the things that don't fit into the statute, the juror bias, the judge's impact on freezing jurors for saying that had other issues that were pressing them, those are examples of why it matters. We're not saying that there's a statutory subpart that says those very things. We're saying there was a court order for 45. There was a failure. There were 32 calls, and we think the court should find out why and if it matters. Your Honor, we provided examples of why it matters. Your Honor, in Idaho Code 2208, section 3, the missing information. I believe that the form is supposed to be sent back to the juror. I don't know if that was done. I can tell you that there's things that are wrong on the face of those forms, and there's not an indication if they were sent back, they were ignored. There's a process there, and if it's not done, that's a substantial failure. We're asking the court to please stay the proceedings so that we can look into these matters.
Thank you. So one of the things that I'm thinking about is just how short the time is we have right now. I looked at the affidavit. It's pretty vague, I have to say. I looked at the case law, I looked at the statute, and I know that your team has looked over the transcripts and the materials. I know that I believe Mr. Thompson was there for this period of time. They don't have that advantage of knowing what happened. I wasn't there. I haven't looked at this material. And based on what has been presented, I'm not persuaded that there is a substantial failure to comply with this chapter. I just don't see it. I think these are sort of some typical things that we see all the time in jurors. It's not unusual for the number of jurors that we ask to show up don't show up. I don't think it's that unusual, and so some of the concerns that Mr. Koberger cites very well could have been corrected with some questions. I don't know. So I'm going to deny the motion. And connecting to the earlier sort of order to allow the defense to get the transcripts, give you time to get the transcripts, to get the materials for the grand jury. I think that this point, not satisfied with the standard, finding a substantial failure to comply. I'm going to roll back the original stay, and I'm putting in quotes because it wasn't a stay under statute. It was just my idea to try to give the defense opportunity to be able to file such a motion to actually stay under the statute. I don't think this reaches that point. So I'm going to deny the request to stay the proceedings under Idaho Code 2-213 subsection 2, and I'm going to roll back notify order. As far as I'm concerned, we're starting the trial October 2nd. We're going to start with jury selection. Okay, what's going to this case? Right now, I think we have trying to bring in 1,000 potential jurors. At this point, I'm not even sure that's it. That's what we're at. Okay, so next motion, I believe, is the state's motion to compel notice of defense alibi.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And Judge, since filing of our motion, looking at the defense and response, it looks like we've made a little bit of progress. The defendant has at least, Mr. Covert has at least now stated that his alibi is he was out driving around that night. We knew that already. And if that's his alibi, so be it. What the
Did you guys hear him? Am I the only one that heard that? Because I know it's been kind of like tedious. But he's like, his alibi is he's just driving around. It's just out driving around. I don't know the way he said it. This is going to be a good trial. I'm sorry, Santa's going to bring the heat. But we got to hurry this trial up because I need my new Apple Watch. I need him to go make it Santa's workshop. I'm just gonna take it back a few seconds because that was good. Someone needs to put that on a meme, like on a shirt or make it a meme.
The state's motion to compel notice of defense alibi.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And Judge, since filing of our motion, looking at the defense and response, it looks like we've made a little bit of progress. The defendant has at least, Mr. Covert has at least now stated that his alibi is he was out driving around that night. We knew that already. And if that's his alibi,
We knew that already.
so be it. What the defendant has still failed to do is to comply with Idaho.
He's straight telling us there that they have him on camera, like everywhere. Like when he's saying that, he's like, we knew that already. He was out driving around. We watched him. We watched him drive around. We watched him drive to and from the crime scene. Oh man, that made me laugh.
Idaho 19-519 and Idaho Court Rule 12.1 that specifically requires a defendant to provide identified names of witnesses who will be called to support the alibi along with their addresses. Defendant has only said, well, I may do that, or I may call witnesses, or I'll do it through cross-examination, and of course I have the right to testify on my behalf. We don't question that. At this late date, I do not believe it is possible, even if the defense were to provide a list of the names of witnesses and addresses today, that with everything else that needs to be done leading up to a week before October 2nd, that there's any way that the state could reasonably be expected to respond with the, as contemplated by the rules of statute. So the state's position at this point is we will accept what the defendant has said, that he was driving around, although he should specify where he was driving. If he's not gonna call anybody else, if he's not gonna offer evidence to anybody other than himself, then that's none of our business. So we're willing to accept that with an order from this court prohibiting the defense from offering third-party evidence, whether by direct or cross-examination, in support of the defendant's claimed alibi. If he wants to testify to that, that's his prerogative. But at this point, it's too late for the defense to comply with the statute and identify specifically people and their addresses who testify. So that's where we stand now, Judge. Thank you.
Ms. Taylor?
It's me, Judge.
All right.
Your Honor, we provided
She said, "That's me, Judge."
what we can provide to the prosecutor and more. I think that Mr. Thompson's right. We don't have to tell the prosecutor if Brian's going to testify or what Brian needs to say. We have indicated that that it's possible that we would have additional things that might come out through expert testimony and cross-examining the state's expert. I don't have documentation to give to the state today. I am not going to go into any more of that at this moment. I understand we're not over this. I definitely understand that, and I've heard everybody's thoughts and concerns. I get that. But I mean, this is what we have, and when there's more, I will tell.
Your Honor, with all respect, that is exactly what the rule and statute are designed to prohibit. As the U.S. Supreme Court observed in Taylor v. Williams, the ease with which an alibi can be fabricated. The defense is waiting to gather up evidence, seeing what they can fabricate to match that evidence, saying, oh, by the way, here's an alibi now. That is specifically what's prohibited by the statute, by the rule, by the comments of the U.S. Supreme Court on Williams v. Florida. You know, trials are not yet a poker game where players enjoy an absolute right to always conceal their cards until played. And that's what's going on here. That's why the rule exists. Just need to cut it off and we'll move forward. The defendant can testify to his own alibi if that's what he wants to do. But it violates the rule, the statute, and the rights of the state to a fair trial to allow third-party evidence, whether by direct or cross.
Well, the way I understand this is, and this is in the so-called alibi, not really an alibi, but quote, he was out driving during the late night and early morning hours of November 12th to 13th, 2022. So what I'm going to do, because the next motion is for a scheduling order, I'm going to address this in terms of the agenda. We'll see how that goes. Right now, that is as far as Mr. Pilgriver wants to go with regard to alibi. That's fine. If there is going to be, Ms. Taylor, you suggested that there might be some witnesses, then not a certain date, certainly. I read the Albert case, which was interesting because there were witnesses. The judge refused to allow them to testify in that case. Yes, sir. Yeah, I don't. Maybe it was then there Perez. That was 2021. That was a court of appeals. And they said, not a lot. So I think Ms. Taylor needs to acknowledge that potential risk to your client in the latest response to the request. So there's some potential downside. Constitution of the United States. All right, so I think that takes care of that for now. So I'm going to give you deadlines. So I think the last motion then, again, this motion to dismiss indictment has been pushed out. We don't have to set it yet. But we need to talk about it. But there's the motion for scheduling. Absolutely, we need scheduling. Okay, I don't dispute that. Didn't do it earlier because we were dealing with other things, thinking possibly this case was going to get pushed out because there were so many issues. I understand that Mr. Koberger is anxious to have this speedy trial. So I'm going to tell you, this is a little bit of a reality check. I'm just going to tell you what the schedule is. Okay? And I'll let you know so you'll be able to see it. So.
Okay, so he's like, I'm going to tell you. He said, I'm going to give you a dose of reality or something like that. We're going to talk about reality. And I was like, ooh, okay. And I don't know if you can hear him very well. That's why I'm kind of reiterating what he's saying. But he's like, I'm going to give you a dose of reality right now or something. And he's like, I'm about to tell you what the schedule is going to be for trial. So I'm like, okay, I like it. I like me a direct judge.
6 weeks, about 6 weeks for trial. And I'm going off of Mr. Thompson's motion, and maybe added a couple of things, but deadlines for completion of discovery, September 1st. Deadlines for expert disclosures under Rule 16B7 and C4, September 8th. If there is an actual alibi, then it's required under Rule.
Did you see him smile when he said that? If there's an actual alibi, I saw him. I'm going to go back a little bit. I was trying to write something and I still caught that little judge's smirk. It might be right there where I'm got his little face on.
Okay.
All right.
I'll let you know.
Let me go back a little bit. There we go.
I understand.
So then I can write down the discovery too.
Mr. Koberger is anxious to have this speedy trial. So I'm going to tell you, this is a little bit of a reality check. I'm just going to tell you what the schedule is. Okay? And I'll let you know so you'll be able to see it. So 6 weeks, about 6 weeks for trial. And I'm going off of Mr. Thompson's motion, and maybe added a couple of things, but deadlines for completion of discovery, September 1st. Deadlines for expert disclosures under Rule 16B7 and C4, September 8th. If there is an actual alibi, then it's required under Rule 12-1 and 19-519, September 8th. Deadlines for pretrial motions, including motions in limine, motions related to the death penalty, and other motions under Rule 12B. And I'm going to say also, if your client, Ms. Taylor, decides to waive speedy trial, I'm going to have a deadline of September 8th. Because there's going to be a lot of work between now and October 2nd. And if that is in fact what's going to happen, we want to have that to happen earlier than later. Deadlines for responses to the motions, September 15th. Deadlines for proposed jury questionnaires, September 15th. Deadlines for proposed witnesses under rules 16B6 and C3, September 15th. Deadline for any Rule 404B notices, September 15th. We'll hear all the motions, and I'll clear out the whole day, September 22nd at 10 a.m. I'll call it first steps for death penalty qualified jury selection. I'm carving out September 25, 26, and 27. I don't know if that's enough. We'll see. Final pretrial conference, September 29 at 10 a.m.
Mindy, that was Christy's sister that wore that shirt.
Trial, October 2nd, starting 8:30 through November 17th. This is a tight schedule, you all know it. But we can do it. That's what everybody wants. I'm up for it. Okay. I'm gonna clear out the deck for September. And so there may be other things that come up, including if you want to set a hearing on the motion to dismiss the indictment at this point.
Your Honor, we should set that for hearing, but we have an additional motion to dismiss the grand jury indictment for various different grounds that's, it hasn't been filed yet. I think it makes sense to have both of those motions for the same day.
Absolutely. When do you want to do it?
Sometime probably 2 to 3 weeks, you know.
3 weeks, oh, here we go. Two to three, not next week. Do it next week.
I cannot do it. Do it week after.
I am. That week. Because I'm trying to clear everything out. So, well, actually, we could do it the afternoon of September 9th, because I had that at one point. We were going to have it. September 1st, that's a Friday. Say 1 o'clock.
Judge, we're gonna need time to respond to whatever other motions they're gonna file. So we're gonna need a due date for them with a reasonable amount of time for us to respond to any additional grand jury attacks.
When can you file?
I think we can file it probably by midweek,
Midweek,
Wednesday.
okay, August 23rd? Okay, let's say August 29th for a response, is that, we're on a tight schedule,
Understood?
does that work? And then we can still do September 1?
I'm wondering if maybe it would be wise to put it out all, we've got a bunch of things going on the 8th, just do it on the 8th. Oh, Mr. Nye isn't available, so if it's about the grand jury, we need Mr. Nye.
He's not available, what, September 8th or?
Yeah, what I was proposing.
Your Honor, 6th, 7th, and 8th, I'm not available. I think we could probably do, I guess my question is just, how long is this, not like 400 pages? If it's one of those, I'm not gonna be able to respond in a week, so.
Oh, please do not give me a motion of 400 pages, please. I don't have time.
Not 100 pages, Ron.
But is
I
it-
don't have time for 400 pages either.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that may be kind of an overstatement. Motions that we've seen on some of these issues in other jurisdictions are multiple pages, as the court can see from the one that's pending. Dozens of pages of attachments, so taking us back into ancient history. Realistically, the court's got the same amount of time as we do to try to digest all of that, plus we have to respond.
I've read every single word.
Yes, sir, we've been there.
So, can we do it on September 1st? I'd like to clear it out. Hey, if I'm going to dismiss the indictment, I mean, I think everybody should know that pretty soon. Also, if I deny it, everybody should know that pretty soon.
And I think our concern, Your Honor, is just, we're talking about a potentially very lengthy brief being filed sometime next week, and then a deadline the following Tuesday. I think that the brief deadline, I think, is potentially more concerning than the hearing date.
Okay. So you want a little more time to respond?
Well, I think they should have a deadline, and then perhaps at least a week for us to
Well,
respond.
their deadline is August 23rd.
23rd.
Yeah. So,
If we,
I'm trying to accommodate everybody, trying to make everybody happy.
understood, Your Honor, if we could have till the 30th, then I'll just, whatever it is, I'll respond to it in 7 days.
Okay. So you could respond by August 3rd.
I'll do my very best, yes.
Okay. You can't ask more than that. You say you're not available September 6th, 7th, and 8th?
Correct, so if we respond by the 30th, and then we can do the hearing 2 days later on the
We'll make it work, Judge. I'm just trying to be out, but I'll change that. That's not a problem.
Okay.
According to my calendar.
I'll make it work. 1 o'clock, September 1st?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Keep the lines of communication open, okay? Be respectful to each other, and maybe some of this can be ironed out.
And just to clarify, Judge, on the September 1st deadline for discovery, that includes also all litigation and sentencing evidence. Is that correct? It's all one and the same. Once we get going to trial, there's not going to be another break.
Well,
I just want to make sure that the defense and we are clear that that's the line being drawn. I don't want to get balled up in some
right,
after the fact saying, oh, well, for purposes of sentencing, we want to call this expert, this mental health person, and these family friends and all that sort of stuff. That's not going to be appropriate post-time trial starts.
well, figure out, I think this is what was discussed when we decided October 2nd, is that the trial would be 4 weeks, and then the sentencing would be 2 weeks, if he's found guilty. Estimated,
I believe so.
alright. So during that period of trial, I mean, there's I see a whole bunch of lawyers here, maybe that's something that could be done. We wouldn't have to do that by September 1st.
With all respect, I don't think that's realistic, Judge. This case is complicated. I think it's going to absorb the efforts of all the attorneys that are standing before you right now, just on the issue of guilt. And the state, of course, needs to have time to react. The defense is going to disclose sentencing experts. It's going to disclose possible things about background, mental condition, those sorts of things. Those are complicated, lengthy endeavors for us to respond to, including the possibility of having to retain other experts to rebut whatever the defense Mr. Koberger wants to offer. And I think if we're realistic about this timeline, we need to suck it up and be realistic about everything. That includes the defense's obligations.
Ron, I don't have a report. I would have a question about rebuttal witnesses for the state, rebuttal experts for the state might call. Disclosures, but I understand what Mr. Thompson's saying, like, mitigation is a huge complicated piece with every single capital piece.
I understand too. And I mean, I have no idea where you are.
Busily working, Your Honor, very busily working.
I would suggest that maybe there could be a little more time for that. I mean, you need a deadline for sentencing, mitigation, and all that, make that September 15th. Because there's gonna be a lot put together by September 1st. That's just 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks, but it's 50% of the time, less than 50% of the time before we're gonna be in this courtroom picking a jury, and we don't have time to work on anything else. And, you know, and once we get disclosure on their experts, we're gonna have to disclose our rebuttal.
Yes.
And maybe we need to put that date in there. If we make all the discovery, including mitigation discovery due by the 1st, then Your Honor could have a date for rebuttal, a reasonable time after that, and still before trial.
So witnesses, that deadline is September 15th, is that what I said?
No, discovery, well, let's see. Let me look. Witness is September 15th, discovery by September 1st. And so if there are reports from experts, from examinations, mitigations, studies and that sort of thing, those would have to all be by September 1st.
Your Honor, you made September 8th, the experts.
Yeah.
Along with several other things.
So you can have response to experts on the 15th.
Thank you.
So maybe we need to move up the deadlines for witnesses on the same day, lay witnesses, on September 8th with response by September 15th. I thought this was so clean. Let's just start thinking about it. That's, you know, I'm not even promising it's doable, but it's just what we need to do. I mean, we're going to be working at night. So here we are. So, and I'm just going to say your sentencing, information, disclosures, just make it September 15th. We'll have plenty of time to sort that out. Not plenty of time, but we'll have some time to sort that out. And we can talk about all of that on September 22nd. Anything else, Mr. Thompson?
Not right now.
Ms. Taylor?
Sir, I wonder if you might be willing to set a very short status conference next week. Status conference,
You got it.
maybe on Wednesday. Wednesday seems to be my best day.
Every Wednesday's your best day, or no,
The next one is,
about 1:30 on August 23rd.
that'll work on you.
Could we do just a hair later? I have a dentist appointment, which isn't necessarily the most pleasant thing to do, but they're hard to get.
Okay,
And the older I get, the, more I feel I'm going to be walking around with teeth someday.
you don't have to confess to anything.
Okay, so
How about, what time is
it's
it?
a 1 o'clock appointment at Idaho here would say, move it out to 2, I should be 3. If you can squeeze that in, Judge.
I have a civil hearing at 3, how about we go to 4?
If that keeps Ms. Taylor in town long, that would be fine, or if it's just a status hearing, we could probably do by 2:15, 2:30, and be done by 3. Would you think?
I think it will be very,
It'll be very what?
I think it'll be a quick hearing, so I think to get you ready for your regular docket, and if we work together at 2:15, if Mr. Thompson can make it, we won't keep you from the regular docket.
Well, I just have one case, that's not gonna take very long. It's 7.
We'll be done on it.
Okay, at 2:15? Yeah. You just want to do it by Zoom? It's a status conference?
I do not. I want to be in.
Okay.
If we could have a Zoom link for council who are out of the area, that would be fine.
That's fine. So, Zoom plus in person. Okay, status. 2:15, August 23rd.
Thank you, sir.
Okay? So for sure, we're all on the same page, right? That's sarcastic. Okay, anything else, Mr. Thompson?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Taylor? All right, well, thank everybody for your patience. It's been a long day, and it's 5 o'clock, so we are adjourned. Thank you.
Sorry, I was trying to adjust my microphone a little bit. Let me try to adjust it real quick. Sorry, guys. There we go. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that later. Okie dokie. I think I'm okay. There I am. I'm like, there I am. Legendary. I said, now we can start the live. Legendary came in last night. It was literally 8 hours. We were in the 8-hour live. We were on the tail end of it. And he's like, I'm here. You can start over now. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Is everybody cool? Everybody cool? I was looking down for a second. Damn it. It was just boring staring at each other. Brooklyn said that's funny. So I'm so glad. Thank you. Who was that told us that video was on Long Crime Now? One of y'all did. Thank you. Because we literally streamed for 8 hours yesterday and the judge was like cut off. And I was like, what? So then I streamed for another hour and like a half because we were trying to find it and like just look for it. I didn't see it either. And I'm not a quitter. I was so mad. I was so mad because I would have stayed on for 9 hours or 10 hours if we could have seen it all. We couldn't find it. And then I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and go to bed. I was getting a little sleepy last night. Plus, we got to get me a chair like Judge. Do you see that thing? I want a chair like that. I want a big chair. I still have my cat in here, by the way. And my dog is still sleeping in the closet. They've never done this. This is so nice. Thank you, Brooklyn. I love, love, love green. It's my favorite color. There's actually like a Lexus. I think it's a Lexus in the parking lot that this lady just bought. It's like brand new. It's so pretty because it's like green, like this color green. I love it. So we went. Okay. So on our live, we were going to go like back, in time. That's what we were planning on doing. And that's what we're still going to do that. But we just got to kind of separate what we heard. But on our lives, we're going to like kind of, just go back and look at the press conferences and review those and see what we can kind of pick up that we didn't hear the first time around. And we did part 1 where we did like a documentary. And then we did like the first, like the day before the homicides and then the morning of the homicides. We did like the 12th and the 13th. And then last time we got caught up until like the 20th of November. And that was when they do their second press conference. So I was going to pull that up for us. Oh, thanks, Jan. She just gifted another membership and Perry got it. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. So we do have some dates, Lori. He was saying them so dang fast, so I couldn't get them all wrote down, I don't think. So September 1st, they're going to do the discovery. Discovery expert disclosure is going to be September 8th. September 15th, they have some deadline notices. And September the 25th, 26th, 27th, they're going to pick the jury. So they got a jury day, or I mean, jury dates picked out 3. I think he should probably take off a whole week for that. I think he should take off like 5, like, 5 days for that. Because, I mean, this is a high profile case and it's a DP case. And I think that's all we had. And then October 2nd, according to everybody that's there, they're all ready to go. I don't know. Yeah. So Christina, what happened was in the courtroom. Well, I know where court TV is. Court TV was set up in there. Like they were set up and I guess they were beside a fan and they didn't realize that, I think, because I heard their air conditioner wasn't working right. It looks like a very old courthouse. So yes, 48 weeks. I know, Brooke. That's like, oh man, that's like, so they're going to do, what is it? They'll do the jury and then it'll be October 2nd. And then they're going to do a 6 to 8 week trial. So we'll be into like the new year. We'll be ringing in the new year, maybe with a verdict or something. That's just crazy. So I think that he's going to, for the grand jury dismissal, I think he said he was going to make a ruling on that later. Like, because there was only 2 things that he really made a ruling on during court, and he was supposed to go over 6. And I've been searching everywhere, high and low. I'm like, but so I heard him on here today. He did say that he was going to go over some of those deadlines and maybe have an extension after. But I think that they're not going to do that now. I think they're just going to do the jury selection on September 25th through the 27th, and then do the trial, which is crazy. That's fast for, death penalty. I'm like, where am I at? I don't even know where I'm at. You know me, I got all kinds of windows open. So what we'll do is we'll go over here to the Moscow page. I'm gonna go up to the top. And let me see here. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to review. So we're going to go back. We're going to go back in time now. And on our lives, that's what I was going to tell you. On our lives, basically what we're going to do is like the first half of the Idaho stream, we will, get caught up on anything that's new. And then if that just like takes us into the whole stream, then that just takes us into the whole stream. But if we, have time, then we'll kind of go back to this and we'll just kind of see what we can learn from it. But I figured that we can get caught up all the way to the 29th, 30th, the day that Brian Kohlberger gets arrested. So that would be like a good stopping point for us. Let me see over here. And tonight we're just basically going to review like the Moscow Police Department website, go through a couple of the press conferences. And, like I said, by the end of the live, we'll be caught up to the arrest of Brian Kohlberger. We just want to review these things if anything sticks out. And then for part 4 of the series, we'll do Brian Kohlberger's arrest. And I have a really great live setup for that. And I have like a really great podcast for you guys to listen to for that. So I think that'd be good. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, Laughing Stock. I just happened to look down at my iPad. I should turn it this way. If you guys don't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, it really helps the channel. And if you guys don't mind and want to subscribe, we'd love to have you. We're so close to hitting 10.7. So it doesn't go like it used to, where it was like 1 subscriber and you would have tell a difference on your numbers, or every 10, it's like every 100. So we've seen such a dramatic growth, and I love that. I love that for the channel. So let's go over here where I was. Let me unpin this because that might help me out. And if you guys don't remember this website, this was if you've never seen this website, and because maybe you came into the case kind of like later, after Brian Kohlberger was arrested, this was the crime tip line that they set up for everybody who had any questions or any tips about the Moscow homicides. They could refer to this page, and it was all there for you in a tight little present with a bow on top. And I wish more agencies did that. I remember like when I saw this, I was like, this is fancy to me. So Kelly said I done hit that like button. Wish they recruited a jury out of state. I'd volunteer. Jetta from Texas. I said, okay, I have like, I told Vincent just drop me off in Idaho on the way back from, California. Cause I said, I need to, live there for a little bit, but I could be like new and maybe they'll pick me. What are the odds of a JLR being boots on the ground there in October? Catherine, I guarantee it. I guarantee he will be. If he's not, then I would be like, that's craziness. Cause it's JLR. Oh, actually, let me show you this picture really quick before we get started. If you watch the Alec Murdaugh trial, wasn't Alec Murdaugh? Yeah. Okay. The prosecutor in that case, he had a band. He was a man in a band. I don't know if you guys remember that. And after the case was done, he went out and he played with his band, So I wasn't lying when I said Thompson has a band. There he is. There's Mr. Santee. I don't know if I can zoom in. Oh, yep, sure can. Look at him playing that bass. He's going to play my new hit single. I don't know what it is yet. I'm going to write it. But isn't that crazy? Let me see here. Go over to where I was. I don't know why I'm using that mouse. That's probably why I'm like, there we go. Take it forever. Okay. So basically what this was, like I was saying, it's just, all the news releases, all the tip forms, all of that kind of stuff. So we were on the 20th and I'm just going to do that update here. So basically we were getting updates like once a day, I feel like, or, there for a while, there wasn't a whole lot of press conferences. There was like, they had like maybe four or five, maybe, I think four. But they always seemed like they were like their communications team or whatever, their media people, that they were always doing like a press release because they were always doing updated information. So you'll notice like whenever we read the press releases for each day, something changes in them. They'll come out and they'll say like somebody was either cleared or, just verify something or clarify something for people. So, and you know what would make this a lot easier for me if I put the chat over here. Oh wait, right there I am. Oops. There we go. Okay. Just kidding. That didn't help. I don't know how to make the chat like bigger. I don't know how to do it. Okay, that's okay. So if I don't see your message, that's probably why, just for a minute. But I'm still trying to look. But it says here, where's my glasses? Moscow, Idaho. The Moscow Police Department is providing the following information to update the public on the known facts surrounding the 4 murders that occurred on November 13th in Moscow, Idaho. And it says updated information. Detectives are releasing that on the morning of November 13th, the surviving roommates summoned friends to the residence because they believed one of the second-floor victims had passed out and was not waking up. At 11:58 a.m., a 911 call requested aid for an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence on one of the surviving roommates' cell phones. Multiple people talked with the 911 dispatcher before a Moscow police officer arrived at the location. Officers entered the residence and found the 4 victims on the 2nd and 3rd floors. At this time in the investigation, detectives do not believe any individual at the residence when 911 was called is involved in this crime. Rumors and speculation continue circulating about the ongoing investigation. MPD cautions the public not to rely on rumors and remains committed to keeping the public informed. We urge reliance on official channels for accurate information. Tips, detectives are looking for context to the events and people involved in these murders. Anyone who observed notable behavior, has video surveillance, or can provide relevant information as to call the tip line or email the tip line. All press releases go through the listen, serve process. It just tells you how that goes. That's just for media. And then it says there will be a news conference to update the public on the investigation Wednesday, November 23rd at 1 p.m. And then that's just the original information here. And I'll read through that here shortly too, in one of these. I'm gonna let my cat out of the room really quick. He said he's done. He's standing over by the door. He's like, I'm good now. I'll be right back. That was really cute. They both left. Mary Ann. That's funny. I guess that she's upset right now. I heard she's sad because people are being mean to her. Well, don't, let me see here. Okay. Let's see here. Where am I at? I don't know. I'm going to go back over to the second page. I wanted to get these in order for you guys, so I don't mess it up. November 20th. Okay, so basically what we'll do is we will play this press release. We'll play the press conference, and then I will go back and just like kind of go through the days, and we'll go like through the actual like press releases that we just kind of like the ones we just read. I feel like these we'll hear things that we didn't hear before, or we may be like, oh, I forgot about that. I don't think that this is the press conference where the woman snuck in, but let me check behind this banner. I could be wrong. This could be the one that she snuck in on. I just don't see her yet, but it looks like the same position. So this might have been the one where the lady sneaks into the press conference, but I'm not sure. If it's not this one, it's the next one. I'm going to go ahead and play this one because it's like 23 minutes. And if they have the, I can't remember if the school official goes up and talks. I'll probably just listen to we'll probably just listen to like the officers and the questions, but if the school does go up and it's not too long, we'll listen to it as well. Let me make sure it's turned up all the way.
Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Chief James Fry with the Moscow Police Department. The last spelling of my name is F-R-Y. I'd like to introduce Moscow Police Captain Roger Lanier, Colonel Kedrick Wells of the Idaho State Police, University of Idaho President Scott Green, Dean of Students for the University of Idaho, Blaine Eccles, and Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson. This incident has shaken our community, has continued to shake our community, and we continue to mourn for the victims. We will continue to vigorously pursue the investigation and pursue justice in this case. It is a complex and terrible crime, and it will take some time to resolve. Today, we want to clarify what we know.
Steve, thank you so much. Thank you. I didn't know that you wrote me back. He sent me this song. I'll have to listen to it tonight and then play it for you guys. Oh, that's so awesome. That makes me so happy. That's so nice. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. I was like, Steve, I didn't know who you guys were talking about at first when you were saying Steve. I'm thinking Steve Gonzalez. And I'm like, what? Why is Jan sending me? I thought she was sending me like an email from Steve. And I'm like, what's going on? That's so nice. Thank you. Oh, he is in the back? Jeremy's in here? Is he? I didn't know he was there. I'll have to look. Yeah. If you want to send him to my email, that'd be awesome. I want to see.
And where we're at in this investigation.
Oh, Jeremy.
Our primary goal is public safety and to get a completion of this case and bring someone to justice. We continue to dedicate all the resources to this investigation. We've had 646 tips received, and all will be processed, vetted, investigated, and cleared. We've done over 90 interviews in this case so far, and the Moscow Police Department is utilizing the assistance from the Idaho State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Latah County Sheriff's Office. The personnel that has been assigned to this from the Moscow Police Department is 4 detectives, 24 officers, and 5 support staff. Federal Bureau of Investigators, we have 22 investigators in Moscow, 20 additional are assigned and located in the Treasure Valley, Salt Lake City, Utah, and West Virginia. We have 2 behavior analysis individuals from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. For the Idaho State Police, we have 20 investigators, a public information officer, ISP forensic services, and a crime scene team. We have 15 uniformed troopers to assist our community to help provide the additional resources for our patrols. Detectives are looking to develop any content that would help us in this event. Anyone who has observed any notable behavior or has any video surveillance or can provide relevant information about these murders, please call our tip line at 208-883-7180. Or you can email the tip line and that is tipline@ci.moscow.id.us. At this time, I would like to introduce Captain Lanier to give you some additional information.
Good afternoon. My name is Roger Lanier. I'm a captain over the operations division for the Moscow Police Department. My last name is spelled Lanier. I just want to first state that this tragic murder has shaken the community. It's been very hard for members of the community, and it's been equally difficult for our officers and for the investigators. We will continue to put all of our resources towards investigating and bringing this to a resolution. Here's what we've determined so far. On the evening of November 12th, Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Morgan were at a local bar and were later at a food truck in downtown Moscow. They arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. on the morning of November 13th. Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were at the Sigma Chi house before also arriving home at approximately 1:45 a.m. 2 surviving roommates were also out in the community, and they returned home at approximately 1 a.m. and did not wake up until later that morning. On the morning of November 13th at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed to the Whitcomb Dispatch Center reporting an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence and was made from the phone of one of the surviving roommates. Moscow Police Department officers responded and located 4 victims, 2 on the 2nd floor and 2 on the 3rd floor. The Latah County coroners conducted autopsies, and detectives have been provided with the results of those autopsies. We know that the autopsies confirmed the identity of the 4 victims, determined the cause and manner of death as homicide by stabbing, and determined that it was likely all 4 victims who were asleep during the attack. Some of the victims had defensive wounds, and each victim was stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of sexual assault. Investigators have determined 2 areas of interest within the city and have provided maps which are on our Facebook page and on our website. And these are areas that they have canvassed for additional surveillance video and tips and have contacted several residents in the areas. The areas are generally south of Taylor Avenue to Palouse River Drive and west of Highway 95. Detectives have also canvassed several other neighborhoods looking for evidence, looking for additional surveillance video, and contacting residents and speaking to them to see if they may have heard or seen something. I want to address several areas of speculation, conjecture, and misinformation that has circulated on social media platforms and otherwise. We do not believe the following individuals are involved in this crime: the 2 surviving roommates, a male seen at the grub truck food vendor downtown, specifically wearing a white hoodie, a private party who provided rides home to Kaylee and Madison in the early morning hour of November 13th. Additionally, the identity of the 911 caller and the 911 call have not been released. So any information out there is speculation about that. Investigators are aware that multiple phone calls from Madison and Kaylee's phone were made to a male subject. Any online reports stating that the victims had been tied and gagged are not accurate. Detectives seized the contents of 3 dumpsters on King Road and searched those dumpsters in an effort to find additional evidence, but nothing of note was discovered. Early in the investigation, local businesses were canvassed in an effort to see if any fixed blade type knives may have recently been purchased. And currently, there are no suspects in custody, and we have not located a weapon. I want to assure you that every investigator involved will continue to put all of their resources and all of our partner agencies' resources into continuing this investigation. We do appreciate the community support. We understand how stressful it is, and we will continue to work through this situation. At this time, I would like to turn the mic over to Colonel Wills from the Idaho State Police.
Thank you, Captain. My name is Kedrick Wills, KEDRICKWILLS, and I serve as the Director of the Idaho State Police. And I appreciate your attendance this afternoon as we talk about this horrific, horrific crime. The murders of Ethan, Xana, Madison, and Kaylee are a tragic loss to all of us. Nothing we can do will bring back these young lives. But we have an absolute commitment to working together to solve these senseless murders. And the way that we know how to do that is partnerships. And our partnership with the Moscow Police Department, with the Idaho State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the University of Idaho to bring this issue to a conclusion and bring this to justice is absolute. We continue with Idaho State Police resources here on the ground in Moscow and throughout Idaho. Whatever the needs are, that's what we want to do. And the chief spoke about the Idaho State Police resources that are here, and he spoke about patrol resources. And we have those uniformed troopers here in Moscow and on the campus of the University of Idaho to help people to feel safe and to provide that security to the people that are here, both in the student body as well as in the community at large. And we will continue to do that as long as is necessary throughout this time. In addition, that's in addition to our forensics team that was here, in addition to our investigative team and all the other state police resources. We know that people want answers. We want answers too. As was already mentioned, this is really, really difficult for those investigators, those dedicated professionals who are investigating this crime. And a lot of people have expressed their desire to help. And the best thing that most of people can do to help is to stop with any kind of rumors and just seek official information that comes out of the Moscow Police Department. Anything that we have that we can share from a law enforcement perspective, we will be sharing just as soon as we can.
I'm just going to say that they were begging people. Like, this guy is pleading kind of right now. Like, don't go out there spreading rumors. Don't go listening to the rumors. Please come here for all official, news documents. This was on the 23rd of November, guys. This was only 10 days after this happened, and people were already running rampant with this person did it, that person did it. I mean, it was crazy in the beginning. You think it's crazy now? I think it was even crazier in the beginning, maybe.
Because that's how we think that we can get this to conclusion. Please rely on official sources of information, and please be patient. I understand that everybody wishes that this was solved already, but these things take time. It takes time to work through. You heard the stats of all the tips and everything, the interviews and everything that's been done. This takes time for our investigators to work through. So please be patient as we work through this investigation. We owe this to these young kids, to these young adults. We owe it to them. And we are absolutely dedicated to make sure that that happens. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce the University of Idaho President Scott Green.
Scott Green, President, University of Idaho. Last name spelled Green, like the color. First, we continue.
I'm going to skip this guy and go to the questions because of the fact that, he doesn't really say anything that we don't know. He just talks about the school and what the school is going to do for, the kids and stuff about that nature. So I am just going to flip it through him a little bit because I want to get to the questions because that's good. And then the next press conference that we'll listen to, I'm actually going to take back to Chief Fry. The next press conference is the one that has the woman in it that snuck in. She was crazy. She's like, I'm just going to sneak in and say I'm a student reporter. She's like in her 40s. She looked like. I'm pretty sure she looked like that anyway.
So we're going to open it up at this time to about 8 to 10 questions. We ask that only one question is asked per person, please. And I would also like to just see if there's an Argonaut reporter here. I think it's only fair to give our student reporter the first shot.
Speak up if you're in the room, if you're from the Argonaut. Are you from the Argonaut?
Are you from the University of Idaho Argonaut? Is anybody from the University of Idaho Argonaut? Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Ted Williams, Fox News. You all have said that these killings are targeted. Can you share with us why you believe they are targeted killings? And do you know who, if any, of the victims were the actual targets of the killings?
As we stated earlier in the previous press release or press conference, we believe they're targeted because we take a totality of all the circumstances that we're looking at. Do we know any one person that it was targeted? We're not able to say at this point in time due to our investigation, but we still believe that. But we, like I said, we take a totality of everything that we're looking at.
Chief Glenn Mosley, Idaho Public Radio here in Moscow. On the resources, do you have the resources that you need?
We do have the resources. It is an incredible outpouring of what we receive from the Idaho State Police and from the Federal Bureau of Investigations and Lake County. Anything we ask for is given. So at any time, if we need additional, all I have to do is call the colonel and he will provide that. He's already guaranteed me that. And I know the FBI has said the same thing.
Hi, Emma Epperly from the Spokesman Review. I know you've said you're not going to release who the 911 caller was, but was the killer the 911 caller?
I will tell you no.
Can you clarify, you said it was made from the roommate's phone, but you didn't say the roommate made the call. So did the roommate make the call on the roommate's phone, or can you verify if it's another individual who made the call?
Actually, if we could just go to this one first. And
Well, that's why I went.
so what I'll say to that is it was made from the roommate's call or phone, excuse me. And we're not going to divulge who made that call. to be, it's part of our investigation still, and when we get ready to release that, we will.
Hi, Christina Corbin with Fox News. The male subject whom the women called, has he been ruled out as a suspect or person of interest?
Everything that we have taken from those calls, we have followed up on, we've cleared, and we believe that there's no connection there.
Gotti Schwartz, NBC News. Just following up on the 911 call, you said that you don't believe that's the killer. Can you conclusively rule out the person that called 911 from inside the home as a suspect in this case?
Can you go ahead and just ask that one more time, please?
The person that was inside the home that called 911, that was not one of the roommates. Can you conclusively rule that person out as a suspect at this point?
I don't think I said that it wasn't one of the roommates. I said that it was used with the roommate's phone.
I believe somebody asked if that was the killer, and you said no.
No, that's correct.
Was there someone there other than the two roommates when police responded to the home?
So will you clarify that for me?
You're not confirming a roommate called 911, but you used the roommate's phone. So was there someone else at the home other than those two roommates?
There was other friends that had arrived at the location.
How many? And was that who made the call?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure at this time, to be quite honest.
Do you guys have any idea if the killer's still within the community, or are you looking outside the community for the killer in terms of their physical location?
We are looking everywhere that evidence would lead us. I can't say if the person's here. I can't say what community the person's in. We're utilizing every resource we can to make that location of that individual. And part of that is the safety of our community is paramount. And that's why we brought in the resource that we brought in to keep our community as safe as we can.
Being so close to the border, does that make it kind of automatically an interstate investigation? Can you comment on that?
I cannot comment on that. I'm not even aware.
If you look in Washington at all, I guess, for
We're looking everywhere. I'm going to take two more questions.
Do you still believe this attack was done by one perpetrator? And if so, how does one individual kill 4 people at night and not wake up the other 2 roommates?
Our investigation will continue to look at all avenues of that investigation. I cannot disclose.
Amber, Leah, person with the longest will win no matter how long it takes. That person with the longest name on the all of YouTube, if you'd like, I'll drop the link for you and you can come up and put your camera on and we'll talk about that. So just let me know when you're ready and I'll do that.
Any of that information. I don't even know that information at this point in time, and that's why we're continuing to investigate.
You don't know how this happened without the other 2 roommates hearing it or waking up or no?
We do not. One more question.
Hi, Angela Palermo, Idaho Statesman. In the press release yesterday, you confirmed that the victims were found on the 2nd and 3rd floors of the home. Can you say which of the victims were found where?
I'm not going to go ahead and disclose that information. They were found on the 2nd and 3rd floor. And that's as far as we're going to go with that part of the investigation too, because all those key pieces do come to play later. So we do thank you. We thank you for meeting with us. We thank you for helping get information out. And I can assure you, we will continue to work hard. We will continue to do everything we can to solve this. So thank you.
Is this related to any animal mutilation?
Are you afraid this person will strike again? In terms of technology, do you think that it can be connected?
Dang it, I did that too fast. They're already gone. They're not going to come up. They never do. They drop something in the comments, the chats, and then they leave because they're keyboard warriors. They can't say anything in real life. And that's fine. I understand. I mean, people they get scared to say stuff in front of people to their, even if it's over a computer camera, they still get a little scared, and that's okay. Don't need to be scared to talk to me. I was trying to find the Moscow website again. It didn't take me back there for some reason. Oh, I need to go to this tab. So we're going to go back. So that was the press conference from the 20th. So I think I said the 23rd, but that one was actually from the 20th. And I'm going to double check on that too. And we'll go from there. We will go from there. Let me close out this window. That's like all the way over here now. Okay. So we were on the 20th. I was right. I don't know why I said the 23rd for that. So this isn't anything here. I wanted to play you the second press conference. And then these ones here, these ones are like really, really short. And we'll play those as well. And before we go to the next press conference, I think I'm going to read you guys just basically the summary right here that they have. And then their assigned resources. Let me turn my glasses back on, sorry. I think I can probably blow this up a little bit for you guys too. And I can't see the chat for a second, so just holler if you need me. I don't think it'll let me. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Oops. How did I do that? Oh, okay. Now that's too much. Take it back a little bit, Tanya. Okay. On the evening of November 12th, Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogan were at a local bar called Corner Club at 202 North Main Street in downtown Moscow between 10 p.m. and 1:30 a.m. on November 13th. At approximately 1:40 a.m., Kaylee and Madison were seen on video at a local food vendor called The Grub Truck at 318 South Main Street and used a private party for a ride home from downtown to arrive at their 1122 King Road residence around 1:56 a.m. Investigators have determined that Ethan Chapin and Xander Kernodle were last seen at the Sigma Chi house on the University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive at approximately 1:45 a.m. Ethan and Xana are believed to have returned to the residence at 1122 King Road. It was previously reported that Ethan resided at the home. However, it has been determined that he was only visiting. Detectives believe that on November 12th, the two surviving roommates had also been out in the Moscow community separately, but returned home by 1 a.m. on November 13th. The two did not wake up until later that morning. On November 13th, the surviving roommates summoned friends to the residence because they believed one of the second floor victims had passed out and was not waking up. At 11:58 a.m., a 911 call requested aid for an unconscious person. The call was made from one of the surviving roommates' cell phones inside the residence. Multiple people talked with the 911 dispatcher before Moscow police arrived at the location. Officers entered the residence and found 2 victims on the second floor and 2 victims on the third floor. Autopsies were conducted on November 17th. The Latah County coroner confirmed the identity of the 4 murdered individuals and their cause and manner of death as homicide by stabbing. The coroner stated the 4 victims were likely asleep, some had defensive wounds, and each were stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of SA. I wanted to go back and read something. Okay. This is what confuses me a little bit because according to Drunk Turkey Show, he talked to Christy Gonzalez and she told him that Hunter made the 911 call and that he told the girls to leave the house and then he made the 911 call. But according to the police, it's saying that multiple people were on the phone with 911. So I don't know. Maybe he handed it off to somebody. I don't know. That's just a little weird to me. And then it shows like here, all the people that they had working on the case. They had a lot of people. And we'll go to, we'll go to the rumor control and stuff. We'll go through this. We'll read the rumors really quick. Investigators are aware of a Hyundai Elantra located in Eugene, Oregon. We are working with the local jurisdiction to determine if the vehicle is related to our case. As required by law, several Moscow police body camera videos were requested and released through the public records request process. The original release of any video by this agency is the official version, and circulated videos cannot be verified or authentic or unedited. Another video to be taken on the night of the murders at a local downtown business is known to investigators. Investigators have identified an individual called Adam in the video, and he is cooperating with detectives. There has been extensive media interest regarding an incident at Taylor Avenue in Banfield on November 13th, 2022 at 3:01 a.m. This incident was an alcohol offense which was addressed by the on-scene officer. This call is not related to the murder investigations. For further details regarding this incident, it gives you the number there to call. We have not changed our belief that the murders were a targeted attack. However, investigators have not concluded if the target was the residents or its occupants. There have been media questions about a September 12, 2022 incident regarding an argument between a group of people walking along the University of Idaho bike path and a cyclist. It was reported that during the confrontation, the cyclist displayed a folding knife. Both parties dispersed and there were no injuries. The cyclist turned himself in to police. The case was investigated and misdemeanor charges were referred to the Moscow City Attorney's Office. There is no connection between the individual involved in this incident and the current murder investigation. There have been media questions regarding a February 2022 death on Baker Street. The Latah County Coroner's Office has confirmed the death was due to an overdose. This case is not related to the ongoing murder investigation. There have been online reports of a red Mustang on South Deacon Street being processed as part of the murder investigation. This information is not accurate and the vehicle is not connected to this incident. The identity of the 911 caller has not been released. There have been numerous media inquiries about a 1999 double stabbing in Pullman, Washington, and a 2021 double stabbing and one stab death in Salem, Oregon. While these cases share similarities with the King Street homicides, there does not appear to be any evidence to support that the cases are related. Detectives are aware of the Latah County Sheriff's Office incident of the report of a skinned dog, but do not believe there is any evidence to support it's related to this incident. Detectives are also aware of a Moscow police incident of the report of deceased animals left on a resident's property. This was determined to be wildlife activity and not related to the murders. Online reports of the victims being tied and gagged are not accurate. That's a lot of stuff that they had to go through. And we'll go over to the 23rd. How long is this one? Let me see. Okay. I will probably play this video like halfway through, and then I'll probably put it on the chat onto members only, like the last like 20 minutes or so of the live. So if you guys want to become a member, we'd love to have you. But then that way, you know, it helps the members kind of see each other too in the chat. So, and I'll put the link in the chat in just a moment for you guys. And this is going to be the press conference that they came out and they did on the 23rd. Trying to do two things at once, but you know, that's not right. Can't do that. So we'll listen to this one. And I thought this one was the one where the lady snuck in, but I don't know if this one is it either. We'll find her though. We'll eventually see the lady. And I'll probably do the same thing like I did with the first one. I'll just play the officer speaking and then the questions at the end. I agree with you, DM. I do agree with you. I think there's going to be a lot, and I feel bad for the families that have to see that, have to see the crime scene photos and the everything of it, the everything. They haven't. I feel like they've lived hell, but they're going to go. There's like a step below it, and it's reserved for this kind of stuff that happens to people. You know what I mean? Like really, like you feel like you can't hit rock bottom and then there's rock bottom.
I just want to let you guys know.
I feel like they need
there will be
some
a question
peace.
and
They
answer
need
time.
some peace.
We're going to try and extend it today to be a little bit longer, so that way more people have the opportunity to ask questions.
And it is up all the way. It might be a little low.
Passing around a microphone, and he does not know what organization you're from, and so this will so it's purely random. So please keep questions to one or two, and we'll try and get to as many people as possible. So thank you.
See if this is any louder. No, it's just kind of low. Here we go.
Good afternoon. My name's Chief James Fry.
It'll
with the
probably
Moscow
help if
Police
you had
Department.
headphones if you wanted to throw
Joining me
them
today is
in.
Captain Roger
Sorry,
Lanier
guys,
with
this
the
one is a
Moscow
little
Police
bit low.
Department, Moscow Deputy City Supervisor Tyler Palmer, Colonel Kedrick Wills of the Idaho State Police, University of Idaho President Scott Green, University of Idaho Dean of Students Blaine Eccles, and Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson. We are thankful for all the tips and leads the public has provided in Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison's murder investigation. No bit of information is too small, and every tip will be pursued. So far, this information has helped investigators build a picture of the areas of interest and the relationships these four had with each other and our community. We still believe there's more information to be gathered, which will continue creating a window through which we view this case. We all want to understand why this happened and what drove someone to do this. The families of those involved and our entire community deserve to know. We ask anyone with any information related to what happened with these four who are in our community, their interaction with others, and whether they expressed concern or commented about someone or something strange to get that information to us. Even if you don't believe it is relevant, investigators will review and determine if and how your information builds the picture. Sometimes what a video or picture doesn't show is equally as important as what might be there. Information on how to submit tips and updates on the investigation can be found on the Moscow Police Department webpage. We continue moving forward to understand why this occurred in our community and seek answers to bring justice for the victims and their loved ones because they deserve it. I personally want you to know we care and we will continue to work hard to get these answers for these individuals. At this time, I'd like to introduce Captain Roger Lanier for an update on what we can currently share about this investigation.
Good afternoon. I'm Captain Roger Lanier with the Moscow Police Department. I want to assure you first off that the loss of Xana, Kaylee, Madison, and Ethan remains the highest priority for the Moscow Police Department. We will continue putting all of our resources into investigating and solving these murders. Investigators are prepared to work through the Thanksgiving holiday to continue their efforts. I also want to express our sincere appreciation to the Idaho State Police, the FBI, University of Idaho, and the Latah County Sheriff's Office for their assistance. And I especially want to thank the community of Moscow for their outpouring of support through this incredibly difficult time. Today, I'm going to recap in brief what we know. I'm going to provide some new information, and I'm going to address some rumors. On the evening of November 12th and into the early morning hours of November 13th, Kaylee and Madison arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. after visiting a local bar and a street food vendor. Ethan and Xana were also out in the community at Sigma Chi, and they arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. Two surviving roommates who were also out in the community arrived home at approximately 1 a.m. Later, on the morning of November 13th at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed. The call reported an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence, and a surviving roommate's cell phone was used. During that call, the dispatcher spoke to multiple people who were on scene. Moscow police officers responded and found two victims, two on the second floor and two on the third floor of 1122 King Road. The results of autopsies indicated that the four were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds, and there was no sign of sexual assault. We do not believe the following individuals were involved: the 2 surviving roommates, the male seen in a grub truck video circulating on the internet, a private party who drove Kaylee and Madison home, any of the individuals who spoke to the dispatcher on the 911 call. We're also aware of a male whom Madison and Kaylee had called several times the morning of November 13th, and we do not suspect that individual. Detectives have canvassed the neighborhoods looking for evidence, physical evidence, video surveillance, and they've contacted numerous residents to see if anybody may have seen or heard anything. They continue requesting tips that can be sent to our tip line or called in to our tip line. The specific areas that we're interested in are detailed on maps on our city website and our Facebook page, but as stated earlier, generally south of Taylor Avenue to Palouse River Drive and the area west of US 95 over to the Arboretum. We have heard mention that Kaylee stated she may have had a stalker. Detectives have been looking into that and to this point have been unable to corroborate the statement, although we continue to seek information and tips regarding that report. No suspects have been named or arrested, and we continue looking for what we believe to be a fixed blade knife used in the murders. We have not released the names of any of the subjects who spoke on the 911 call, and we have not released the call itself. Any online reports of the victims being tied and gagged are not accurate. Regarding the resources that we've put forth in this investigation, the Moscow Police Department has 4 detectives, 24 patrol officers, and 5 support staff dedicated to this investigation. The FBI has 22 investigators in Moscow and 20 additional agents assigned in various locations, as well as 2 members of the Behavioral Analysis Unit. The Idaho State Police has 20 investigators, a public information team, a forensic services and crime scene team, and 15 uniformed troopers who have been valuable in helping provide community patrols and safety patrols. We very much appreciate their support. This is our highest priority. It will remain our highest priority. We owe that to the families. At this time, I would like to introduce Colonel Kedrick Wills from the Idaho State Police.
Thank you, Captain, and thank you for those that are in attendance today for your attendance. We really appreciate this. What has affected Moscow and the community here has affected all of us as Idahoans. We have a way in Idaho that the communities come together in tough times, and this is one of those tough times. Leads from the community are important, and as the captain spoke, no tip is too small, and we would urge anybody that has any information whatsoever to please provide that to help us solve this case. The lead agency of this case is Moscow Police Department with Chief Fry and his dedicated team of professionals, and the Idaho State Police's role is to support them and their good work here. There is an awful lot of efforts going on behind the scenes, and I'll explain why it's behind the scenes in just a moment. But what can't be seen isn't always known of what we do in law enforcement, and I'd like to explain that in just a moment. But the Idaho State Police and the FBI continue to provide resources to this investigation. I would like to speak for just a moment, if I could, not about this specific case, but rather an overview of how cases are investigated, so that maybe it'll give some sense of the why of the timeline here. We understand you want answers. We want answers too. But these take time, and if I could explain just a minute about the process here of what we go through just generally in investigation. So we use in advanced investigative techniques and crime scene processing. So what happens when a call comes in, the original officers, the first officers that respond to a scene, And then once that they've got their work there and determined that they need some additional investigative assistance, then they call investigators to come and help process that scene. And oftentimes it requires a forensics team to help process that scene. And when I say process the scene, what we're looking for is we're looking for any evidence that may help us to be able to find the people or person responsible for what we're seeing. And so we're collecting biological evidence, we're collecting latent evidence, whether it's shoe prints or tire marks or anything like that. We're trying to collect that evidence. We're trying to correct, we do that through photographs, we do that through 3D mapping to be able to map the scene. We identify and we mark evidence, and then we collect that evidence. And then we look for any evidence that we think may be helpful. And once that is done, then we package all that evidence up and we send it off to forensics laboratories to be analyzed to see if it can help provide clues of what's happening. All of this takes an immense amount of time. The reason this is important to understand is because it's important that while this is such a tragic circumstance that we find ourselves in law enforcement, we believe we owe this to the surviving families to get this right. And so we're not willing to sacrifice speed for quality. We do testing for blood, we do latent print processing, any documentations for anything at the scene so that we can reconstruct that scene at a later date. If I could share just a few statistics of this particular crime scene. At this crime scene, we collected 103 pieces of individual evidence. We took approximately 4,000 photographs. We've conducted multiple 3D scans of the residence, and we have hundreds of hours used by technicians and investigators, including our forensics team and detectives from multiple agencies. We've processed over 1,000 total tips and conducted 150 interviews. I hope that you understand that gives a little bit of a perception of just how complex this case is. We have the utmost confidence in this investigation and that this investigation will be done right. We ask you and we ask the public to please remain patient as this investigation unfolds. And please rely on official sources of information. We really appreciate the media's assistance. We know you have a job to do. We know that you're professionals and you do it to the best of your ability. And we're thankful that you're here because without you, we could not get the correct information to the community that could help us solve this. So I can't overemphasize how much I appreciate and we appreciate in law enforcement your willingness to do this. What you are doing matters. And it matters in what we are committed to doing, and that is to the best way we can think of to honor these victims and their families is to conduct this investigation correctly. Finally, I'd like to share that I've been in regular contact with Idaho's Governor Brad Little throughout this investigation. Governor Little is making available up to $1 million for expenses related to this ongoing investigation. As you heard, the resources that are here in Moscow and throughout with this investigation, you can see that those expenses would add up quickly. Like all Idahoans, Governor Little is deeply saddened by the loss of these 4 bright and promising young lives. And he's making sure the state of Idaho provides all of the resources possible to ensure that the person or persons responsible for this are brought to justice. And now I'd like to turn the time over to the University of Idaho President, Scott Green.
Good afternoon, I'm Scott Green, President of the University of Idaho. We deeply appreciate the kind words of support we have been receiving from our alumni and friends, as well as many others who may not know us but have taken time to reach out.
I thought I paused that and I didn't. Thanks, Brooklyn. We don't quit over here, do we, girl? 8-hour stream. It was so long. But no, we needed it. We needed to get back into the groove and swing of things. Because we did do the Letitia Stout trial, but I took breaks when we were doing that trial. So, because you kind of had to with her. She was a whole lot of something herself, you know? I'm just going to fast forward through this guy because I feel like the student president, he doesn't say anything, but other than, like, I mean, he doesn't say some stuff that's kind of sad, but other than that, he just kind of, you know, talks about the school. And I don't know who this gentleman is, so we'll go back. I forget who this guy is.
And our prayers.
It's just very low. Oh, there is the lady. There she is. There she is. So this lady, the only person, right, that I see that has a cell phone, like, where's my cell phone? Oh, there it is. Like this. You know what I mean? Well, she's got to use both hands because she don't got the case, so she's doing like this, and everybody else has like their microphones down or they've got like their camera, but she's not about that life. She got her detective skills from JLR. He always uses his phone for everything, so that's why I had to tease him a little bit. But no, so she's just using her phone, and then she says, what did she say? I forget the question she asked. We'll have to wait. But she said that she was a student reporter. That's how she got in. And she wasn't. Oh, I'm sorry, Kelly. The volume's high because of the, sorry guys, I probably scared you guys. So sorry because I was louder than the volume or the thing. It's worse when she opens her mouth. I know. It's really bad. So I'm glad that we got to see her. So she snuck in there. Now, isn't that some JLR stuff though? He would do that. But he wouldn't be wearing a printed shirt. She does kind of stick out, you know. I think she has is that her keys hanging from her belt loop? She's ready to run if she needs to.
I'm sorry, I need to introduce Deputy City Supervisor Tyler Palmer. Tyler.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Tyler Palmer. I'm Deputy City Supervisor with the City of Moscow, and I'm here today on behalf of...
He was here on behalf of the mayor. I already know what he's going to say. I forgot about this. This is bad. This is in bad taste.
Mayor Arthur Betke, the Moscow City Council, and Moscow City Administration. The loss of Kaylee, Madison, Lena, and Ethan has sent an overwhelming, palpable wave of grief, confusion, sorrow, and anger through our peaceful community. Mayor Betke, with the support of our City Council, has instructed staff to marshal all necessary resources for our law enforcement professionals as they diligently work to assure the safety of every member of this community and find the person or people responsible for this. The outpouring of support, kindness, and genuine empathy locally and even globally has been a humbling reminder that those who want to help far outnumber those who want to hurt. And we take some solace in that. To all of you who've reached out, sent letters and cards, provided food for those working around the clock on this investigation, and offered other resources, we thank you sincerely. These continued acts of charity and humanity remind us why we live in this tight-knit, caring community. The City of Moscow is committed to seeing this investigation through to a successful end and will continue to dedicate whatever resources are necessary for that effort. We are thankful for the immense support from the University of Idaho, Lake County, Governor Little and his office, the Idaho State Police, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Moscow is my home. And I know we won't be defined by tragedy, but how we respond to it. We mourn the loss of these beautiful young people, and we will relentlessly pursue justice on their behalf. Thank you.
So we would like to open it up to any questions, but I would like to ask if there's an Argonaut reporter here that would like to ask, and then second after that, an Evergreen reporter, if there's one in the room. So let's start with the Argonaut, please.
James Torman Aldrich with the Argonaut. I have two questions, if that's all right. Firstly being what the police presence is going to look like after Thanksgiving break and how long that's going to last.
So I'll go ahead and answer. The police presence is going to be very heavy after the break. We have Idaho State Patrol that will also still be in the area, and you'll see a high impact of patrol officers and troopers, as well as Lake County Sheriff's Department personnel in the area.
And then secondly, Will there be any possibility of the release of the 911 phone call, even in transcript form?
Not at this time. That's part of our investigation.
Frankie Beer, the Daily Evergreen. I guess the Moscow PD press release mentioned looking into hundreds of pieces of information about Kaylee's potential stalker. I was wondering what led you to believe she did have a stalker possibly, and why those pieces of information haven't come up with conclusive results.
I'm actually going to let Captain Lanier answer this question, okay?
Thank you, Chief. We obtained information through some of our interviews that Kaylee had made some comments about a stalker, so that's where that came from. We have followed up looking at specific time frames in specific areas of town. So far, we have not been able to corroborate it, but we're not done looking into that piece of information.
Dan Springer, Fox News. If I can get Captain Lanier. Sir, why not tell the public who the target was? You've said that this was a targeted attack. Why not tell the public who was targeted? If it was multiple people, it would go a long ways to telling the public what you're looking for and who you're looking for, the type of person you're looking for. Why not do that to alleviate some of the fears out there in the community?
Well, first and foremost, we have the integrity of the investigation to preserve. And we feel like that information is integral to us and how we conduct our investigation. Releasing that to the public may or may not flood us with a lot of information that's not relevant or specific to what we're looking at. So we do want more information, but we don't want to put our investigation in jeopardy by releasing what we have. There's always a balance between what you're willing to release versus what you're trying to gather. We told the public very clearly from the beginning that we're looking for a knife. We've told the public very clearly from the beginning that we believe it was a targeted attack. I mean, to be honest, you're going to have to trust us on that at this point, because we're not going to release why we think that.
Lauren Patterson, Northwest Public Broadcasting. I see that the FBI set up a special web page just to collect digital information. I'm also curious if any of the investigators can speak to this. Curious if the Wi-Fi hotspot has been tapped at all. It's possible if the suspect had their phone on them, it may have pinged off the Wi-Fi in the residence. Has that been checked on at all?
So this lady had good questions. You know, remember we had heard about that, them touching the, touching the hotspot or the Wi-Fi. This girl, she's good at asking questions. She's been at a few of the press conferences.
As I stated, our investigation is looking at every avenue of every piece of evidence that we can. Yeah.
I wonder if when she asked that question, if let's just say like Chief Fry, because I mean, he's not probably extremely familiar with the tech data stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I'm wondering if when she asked that question, if he wasn't in his head going, could that have happened? And like the wheels started turning and he went back to the house. They went back to the house and like pulled the router or something. I wouldn't be surprised.
The FBI has given us a website for any downloads of video or anything. So we ask people, if you have any of that, to send it to us, please.
Thank you. Natasha Chen, CNN. I have a couple of questions here. One, in many homicide cases, the first hours, the first days are so incredibly crucial. Now that we're moving into a window that's further and further away from the incident, does that concern you about the ability to arrest a suspect, or do you have information that you simply can't share with us that makes you confident that you're close to solving this?
I'm going to have the Colonel step up and address that, please.
Well, thank you for the question, and I would like to address it a little more globally than specifically, a little more globally here. Yes, as time goes on, I mean, we're time past the initial calls for service and the initial crime. However, we also, as time goes on, are able to process the forensics evidence, any forensics evidence that we may have collected. And so that helps us. And we're also able to process the tips that continue to come in, which may help us. And so while time in one respect is not beneficial, in another respect it is, because it helps provide us with that whole picture of with all of the information that we're gathering, whether it's evidence or tips or any other information that we're gathering, it may help us to provide a clearer picture. And so it may help answer those questions that we're seeking as well.
Hi, Angela Palermo,
There
Idaho
she is.
Statesman.
Or no,
I was
she's not. Never
wondering if
mind.
there's any evidence that suggests the attacker visited the first floor where the 2 surviving roommates were.
That information will not be released at this time. It's part of our investigation. And as we stated earlier, there's many things that are involved in investigation that we will release and things we won't.
So as of the time of them giving us this press conference on 11/23, we still had no idea that Dylan was in fact on the second floor. We all still thought we didn't have a 3D animation to go by, so people were creating them on like Reddit, YouTube, TikTok, everywhere. And I still have like the original photos actually bookmarked, so we'll have to look at those before trial starts. But I was gonna say something else, and I can't remember. I don't know. I'm gonna keep playing it. But yeah, she's gonna ask her question. Cell phone lady, she's gonna ask her question, I think, here next. She's really ready to get it in. I forget what her question is, but it's not a very good one, I don't think. It's almost like they're not wanting to address her.
Ashley Soriano, Fox News. I have 2 questions. Have you considered the possibility of a murder-suicide? Is that something that you guys are considering right now?
That question has been asked previously, not at a press conference. It's certainly something that we looked at in the early part of the investigation. It is not something that we're looking at this time.
And I know some of the investigators' vehicles and police vehicles are coming in and out of the driveway. Do you think that potentially could disturb any tire marks or other evidence?
Yeah, so the question has been asked about why did the crime scene tape expand, and that's not uncommon. When the first officers arrived, they tried to cordon off what they thought was important. We immediately expanded that when the investigators got there to process the scene. And logically, as this progresses, and you've seen this through our press releases, we have expanded it to several areas of the city and have in fact canvassed entire neighborhoods. So we try very, very hard to uncover every single bit of evidence possible in an area before we move on to the next area. So yes, we've looked at everything that we think we need to look at in and around the crime scene at this point. Well, it's a gravel parking area, so it would be hard to say that.
How are you folks holding up? How are your detectives and officers holding up? And Chief, you mentioned that detectives are prepared to work tomorrow on Thanksgiving. So is the expectation that they will be?
That is correct. We're going to have many detectives and agents working all the way through this incident. Our people are dedicated. Our people care about this community. Our people want to ensure the community that we're here to bring safety and we're here to get a resolve on this. So we will continue to push through. We'll give people time off as they need it, and we will continue to take care of them. But we're gonna keep pushing on this until we come to a conclusion.
Chris Mitchell, KLEW. Is there any plans to increase security for the Apple Cup on Friday?
I can't speak to what's going on in the state of Washington. I can only speak to what we're doing here on the campus of the University of Idaho in concert with President Green and his team. We are absolutely, with the Idaho State Police and the Moscow Police Department, we are 100% dedicated to making sure that this continues to be a safe place for students to do what students need to do. And so that's why we have so many uniformed troopers here that aren't necessarily assisting with the investigation, but rather here to help with the campus security. And President Green and his team have been fantastic in helping to strike that balance to make sure that we have law enforcement resources here. So while I can't speak what's going on anywhere else, I can tell you at the University of Idaho, we have a lot of state troopers and a severe increase of state troopers and Moscow police officers here, both on campus as well as throughout the community.
John Gabell, ABC News. Are investigators looking at any possible connection to an unsolved double stabbing in the Salem, Oregon area about a year and a half ago? Specifically, 2 people stabbed in their home in the middle of the night, long knife, no suspect at this point. One died, one survived.
I think we're looking at every avenue, and we have other agencies reaching out to us with other cases and stuff that we are doing follow up on. We will continue to follow up on those.
Are you aware of that case?
Actually, I had a tip come in on that case, and I forwarded it to our tip line.
Okay, one more question. Can you confirm the bodies have been released to the families or are being so released today?
I believe they have been released to the family, and I know that I believe one of them has already had a funeral.
Okay, I know a lot of people were speculating that maybe Ethan had like a double autopsy or something like that. I don't know where people got that information from. I'm not sure. But he's saying right here that all the bodies have been, their autopsies are done and they've been, given back to their with their families by the 20. This is on the 23rd. So they did those pretty quick, I would think. That's pretty quick. I mean, you'd want to though.
Destiny Martin with the LCSC Pathfinder. Can you lend any insights into the possibility that the murder weapon is linked to the ROTC program? And also you mentioned that the analysis unit is here. Will we be able to hear anything from them about a working profile they possibly have? And on that note, have you guys ruled out the possibility that the killer might be a female?
So we look at every avenue. We're looking at every group of people. Like I said early in our first press conference, we're not going to let any stone go unturned. I believe can you just clarify your second portion of that question? Oh, the BAU, sorry.
Yes, I would like to know if the BAU has a working profile because, you look at victimology. Sure. Are you able to tell us who was killed first on the time of death so that we may understand, if it was a targeted attack, it would make the most sense if they killed one of the roommates first and then maybe the other 2, I'm not, sure. This is not speculation, I'm getting off topic. My question is are you guys looking at a working profile? Have they come up with any?
I can't hear this lady and I want to hear her because she's nutty. I forgot my headphones were back there. That just stuck to the. Okay, that's weird. I didn't know we had metal in the wall, but my magnet is stuck to the wall. That's weird. I know she has like the worst questions. So that's why I was like, I want to make sure I'm listening to her so I could tell you guys too exactly what she says. Let me make sure my headphones are connected. Sometimes I'm going to disconnect them and connect them again. Oops, oopsie. Connect. I don't even know if these are the right ones. I put numbers on these, but of course they're okay. These are the right ones. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to just rewind her a little bit just so I could hear what she was saying. Oh, look at his face. He was like, I'm ready for this.
I believe can you just clarify your second portion of that question? Oh, the BAU, sorry.
Yes, I would like to know if the BAU.
Let me go back a little bit. Sorry. Okay. There we go.
Destiny Martin with the LCSC Pathfinder. Can you lend any insights into the possibility that the murder weapon is linked to the ROTC program? And also you mentioned that the analysis unit is here. Will we?
She wants to know if the murder weapon is connected to the ROTC program. Okay, lady. No.
Be able to hear anything from them
And
about a working profile they possibly have.
she wants to know if they're going to talk with the BAU about a possible profile that they may have, like a working profile.
And on that note, have you guys ruled out the possibility that the killer might be a female?
And have we ruled out the possibility that the killer could be a female?
So we look at every avenue. We're looking at every group of people. Like I said early in our first press conference, we're not going to let any stone go unturned. I believe can you just clarify your second portion of that question? Oh, the BAU, sorry.
Yes, I would like to know if the BAU has a working profile, because, you look at victimology. Sure. Are you able to tell us who was killed first on the time of death so that we may understand, like, if it was a targeted attack, it would make the most sense if they killed one of the roommates first and then maybe the other two, I'm not
She's
sure
given us her working feeling theory.
My question is, are you guys looking at a working profile? Have they come up with anything new regarding the motive or intentions of the killer or killers?
The BAU unit is working.
Women normally don't use knives because they don't want to have to clean up. Like, women think of a mess. Like that's really what it is. Like, we think of a mess. Like, we don't want to have to clean that shit up. So we do things like poison. That's what women are just known for. They're more known for, like poisons and things of that nature than like, a brutal stabbing of 4 people, one being a 6'2" male, 6'2", something like that. Ethan was a big dude.
Working diligently to do what they do. Will that be provided? I'm sure that may be provided once the conclusion of this case comes together.
Sorry, keeps pausing there.
But they are continually taking in information, reading reports, and gathering information for that.
Good afternoon, Chief. Amanda Rowley with Crime 2. Seeing some speculation with some of the cars being searched this past week. Wonder if you can squash some of the rumors and that speculation. Is there anything you can share specifically on the white car out front, and then a follow-up for the university?
So I'll have Captain Lanier go ahead and come up with that.
Thank you.
Well, we have looked at a lot of different vehicles. I'm assuming you're referring to the vehicles that were in the parking lot at the time. Yeah, so some of those vehicles belonged to the victims and some belonged to other people in the house. And so for us, that's part of the crime scene. As I mentioned earlier, the crime scene was expanded out through the parking lot. So we wanted to make sure that we looked at those prior to releasing the crime scene. It was part of the initial investigation that night.
Thank you. And for the university, is there any additional information at this time that you can offer about the candlelight vigil, maybe what we can expect from that? And then any other information you can provide about that ask of the community to light the night on November 30th?
Thank you for that. I'm going to turn this over to Blaine Eccles at this point. He's actually planning the whole event.
Good afternoon. I'm Blaine Eccles, Dean of Students. The vigil is going to be hosted next Wednesday, November 30th at 5 p.m. We have it scheduled for the administration lawn at the moment. We're going to make a final determination on location early next week, just because we're waiting for the weather window to get closer, so we feel comfortable that that's where it will be located. We're anticipating a large turnout of community members as well as university members, students, faculty, and staff at that particular event.
Okay, I think they're talking about the vigil that they had. And I mean, that was sad. I don't know if you all watched the vigil, but we did on the channel here, and there wasn't a dry eye in this whole place, like in the whole chat. I had to turn my camera off. I was like messy crying, like when it's messy and you don't want people to see you. It was like that. It was like that. When was it actually? Let me see. I mean, yeah, he could have. I was seeing when the date was to see if he was even over here. But I'm going to turn it on members only in the chat. And I'm going to play a couple more videos for you guys and talk with you guys in the chat. And then we'll like end out the live here soon. I just have to go over to here and do some stuff really quick. And thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate it. If you guys don't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, it really helps. And if you want to become a channel member, we'd love to have you. We would love to have you. It's fun being a channel member. You get custom emojis, you get members only lives, which I think we're going to do a members only live tomorrow. So I don't need to put that on anymore. Oops. I don't know what that was on, but we'll put that like that. Okay. And I'm going to go back and I wanted to show you guys these are like shorter little clips. Oh, they're up here. Let me go to the right page. The first one I was like this one, I think I watched this one earlier and it was like, I was like, whoa, I didn't know some of that stuff. I think these are the ones. Yep, these are the ones. These are very short. They're like 2-minute long little clips. And they're just of like Chief Fry. And they go from 12:06 to 12:20. So we just ended on 11:23. That was the last press conference that they had listed. When they do the December 30th one, we'll go over that one on our next live because that's going to be the day that Brian was arrested. So let's go here.
Describe what is happening at the residence tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, me and my command team and other individuals will be going in to box up personal belongings of the people that live there. And we're going to be getting those items back to the families. It's time for us to get those things back that really mean something to those families and hopefully to help with some of their healing.
Why do you personally want to be involved in collecting these possessions?
We have a lot of investigators investigating, and I'm not tied into the investigation side of it where I'm physically interviewing people, and it's important to me. It's important for us as a department to go in and take care of the families and get the items for them so that they can have some of those back and some of those memories back that are fond memories. And I'm a dad. I understand the meaning behind some of those things. It may be something that we gave one of our children or something, and we're just trying to bring some of that healing.
As people learn about this stage of the investigation, what do you want to say about where you're at with the investigation?
We're at that point in the investigation where we're still gathering information. We're still gathering tips. We're still gathering evidence. We're still doing everything we need to do. But there also comes a point in time when the family needs to have those belongings back, the ones that we can get them back. They've asked for some of those things back. So we're ready to take care of that for them.
I just have to go back. I'll have to open this in a different tab or something. But that way I don't have to keep going all the way back. But that to me was so sad because we had heard in the ABC podcast that he had kids that were the same age as the Idaho victims. But I didn't know that as far back as the 6th that he said that he had kids. I don't remember hearing him say that. It's just sad, that he wants to give their stuff back. So
First, start by explaining why this search for this white vehicle.
So we have information of a white vehicle that was in the area either during the time frame of the homicide or around the time frame of the homicide, and we are just wanting to talk to the individuals who are in that vehicle. They may have some valuable information for us, and we're looking for a 2011 to a 2013 Hyundai Elantra. So any assistance you can give us, anybody that owns one, anybody that knows of someone who owns one or may have been driving one, if you could get a hold of us through our tip line or call us directly, we'd appreciate that.
This body cam image and the white car, is this the white car investigators are looking for?
So the body cam image that is out there from an officer who was on a call with alcohol offense does have a white vehicle in it. This is not the vehicle that we are looking for. So we wanted to clear that up with all news media.
And finally, the tip line, the process. What do you want to tell the public about that?
So the tip line now will go to an FBI call center. We've done that because we started receiving many tips, and that call center can categorize those, and they can send those tips back to investigators so we can follow up and make sure that we continue with our investigation.
Okie dokie. Let me go to here. That was that was from 12/8. This one will be from, oops, maybe if I do it right, 12/9. Trying to open it. That's okay.
How many tips are coming in?
I think this one might be the same. No, it's not.
We've had an amazing amount of tips come in on the white car. We appreciate everybody's help that has been sending in those tips, and investigators are vetting those and they're following up on those, and the response has been very great. We appreciate all the help from across the nation and our community.
Does Chief Fry appear to be smaller here? I mean, like, does he look skinnier to you guys? I'm gonna have to go back to like one of the previous interviews. His neck just looks smaller, like he's lost some weight. Probably not eating or not eating well.
In some cases, we're hearing that people are borderline being harassed by speculation and rumors out there. What are police doing about that?
Well, what we want people to know is that individuals who are being harassed in this situation, people need to be careful, because some of it's happening online, some of it's happening through phone calls and in person, and people could be charged possibly in the future if it continues to a point where it reaches a criminal element.
What can people do to help that situation?
I think number one, just call
Shut
us
your mouth.
anytime that there's any of that happening so that we can deal with that immediately.
And what about the information? What is being done to make sure the information that is out there is not causing speculation and rumors?
You know, there's been a lot of speculation and rumors, and what we want to say is we are the official source of information. We want people to pay attention to what we're putting out there, because that is accurate information, and anything that comes from other sources is either rumor or speculation, and we want to put an end to that as soon as possible.
I was trying to type in the chat to, hey, you guys. Hey, everybody. I can see you guys now. I can see everybody. Whenever it's like a Saturday, even if it's not like, I don't know, even if it's only like 200 people in the chat or 300 people, I still feel like sometimes I can't see the members. So when I'm glad that we did the members live, or members only for a little bit. It just does help. You know, with all of this, with just being, you know, Saturday night on YouTube. The people come out. I think this is the next one. There, that's how I did it last time. I couldn't figure out how I opened it, and I don't know. But I didn't even open it right that time either, so. Okay, we'll go to 12.
Good morning. My name is Roger
longer.
Lanier. I'm a captain with the Moscow Police Department. I'm in charge of the Operations Division. And today is December 12th, Monday. And I want to give you an update on the King Road homicide investigations, at least the information that we have to this point. Over the weekend, investigators still continued to sort through numerous tips, calls, and online tips in regard to this investigation. There's been a lot of questions about the white car that we've been interested in. We're looking for that car because we believe through our investigation that that car was in the area during the time of the murders. And we also believe that the occupant or occupants may have seen something. They may not know they have seen something. So we specifically want to talk to them, and we want to know who they are and what they might know or might be able to contribute to the investigation. Over the weekend, investigators have sorted through and prioritized numerous tips. Some are tips that came in earlier and we've been working on. Other tips are new and are relevant. It's overwhelming sometimes with the amount of information that comes in on these tip lines. So our analysts have spent hours sorting through and trying to come up with the most relevant tips first for the investigators to follow up on. They have re-interviewed some of the folks we've interviewed earlier in this investigation to clarify information. Sometimes when new information comes forward, the people that we've spoken to beforehand may have new insight on that. So it does often seem like we're backtracking, but we're really just trying to get the most important details and the best timeline that we can come up with. We have literally an army of analysts who have been sorting through videos that have been submitted through the FBI.gov Moscow upload site. Those videos are from all over town, gas stations, and specifically the area around King Road. We've been trying to use those videos to garner new information. As you can imagine, there's hours and hours and hours of video, so it does take a lot of time. I want to talk a minute about safety. There's been a lot of speculation about what is the safety to the public right now, or the risk to the public right now. I would just like to add that we should always be vigilant. Certainly we should be vigilant now, but we should make that a way of life for us. We should always be walking with our head up, sticking to lighted paths, and walking in groups if we can. And in addition, letting people know when you've arrived home if you have not made prior arrangements. This is not an indication of a specific elevated risk, but something that we should be vigilant with just in our daily lives. I want to let everybody know that we are still 100% committed to solving this crime. There's a lot of information to sort through, and the information keeps coming in. And not all of the information is relevant, but you don't know if a tip is valid until you take the time to examine that tip and see how it relates to other information that you might have. We have teams in Moscow, Salt Lake City, and in Virginia, as well as other locations across the country. And we're prepared to do interviews and follow up on information at any point, anywhere. The ISP and FBI investigators, along with the Moscow Police Department investigators, includes dozens of analysts, tip line operators, and others, and they're working around the clock, 7 days a week to sort through the volumes of information. MPD has detectives, support personnel, and a communications team to try to keep everything together, but it is still a daunting task. The FBI, their investigators are ready at a moment's notice at any place in the country to go conduct an interview should the tips and leads take us there. And the Idaho State Police has, besides working on the investigation, had several uniformed troopers in the area to help with safety concerns around the city and on the University of Idaho campus. And just a quick reminder, please stick to official news releases for information. Tracking down rumors and quelling rumors about specific individuals or specific events that may or may not have happened is a huge distraction for investigators, and oftentimes is the result of social media propagation. And it is very, very frustrating to investigators and hard to stay on track. Finally, I just want to add that we do have a lot of information, and we are specifically keeping that information safe. We're not releasing specific details because we do not want to compromise this investigation. It's what we must do. We owe that to the families, and we owe that to the victims. We want more than just an arrest. We want a conviction. We owe that justice to Xana, Kaylee, Madison, and Ethan. And finally, I would just like to remind anybody with information, you can call the tip line at 208-883-7180. And that is directly to the tip line office in the FBI. There's been some frustration about having to wade through the tip line, but remember, this is not the only investigation in the country. So please be patient. We want that information. Anything could break this open for us. And then also the email tip line is tipline@ci.moscow.id.us. Thank you for your continued patience in this investigation.
I'm on mute. I'm over here talking to myself. That's okay. I was pretty much talking to myself anyway. I was just like, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So, oh no, I got you a good one, Norma. I'm going to show to you after we're done with these little videos. It's like, I got a couple more to show you, and then I'm going to show you this picture. Somebody posted it on YouTube, and I just hit like open image and new tab, and it blew it up. And I was like, whoa, that's a big picture of Kohlberger's face. So it's a doozy. Someone put, is he shaving his eye or like trimming his eyebrows down? And I think he is. I'm gonna have to do like a side by side. I'll have to do that tomorrow and get it ready. Let me play this one here. It's only 3 minutes.
Back when investigators first started asking for video, what sources were you asking to get video from?
Well, we started looking for video the day of the crime. Officers on scene, before I even arrived, had identified certain residences in the area that had video cameras. We know just from past experience that security cameras, doorbell cameras, and the like are very, very commonplace now. And that's a part of our standard procedure, is to start looking for a possible video source in and around crime scenes. So we started the day of the crime. And then that expanded as we got more investigators to the area for assistance, and we started putting together teams. And one of our team's sole job was to go through the King Road area, associated neighborhoods, and eventually the main thoroughfares in the city of Moscow, trying to identify videos, video cameras, etc., and then contact those business owners, contact those residents, and ask for copies of that video.
And initially, there was a particular area outlined as where the priority was for asking for video. Why was that area selected?
Well, that area was selected because essentially it surrounds the King Road area, and we know that people typically have to travel to and from. We weren't trying to pigeonhole our investigation into the suspect lives in the area. We wanted to make sure that we covered all the bases. And so as we began to gather more information, we began to expand our search area. You may recall from the second press conference that we specifically put out a plea to the public for any video in the King Road area, and then we gave a defined area, and we put that area on our website as well, asking residents, hey, if you have video or if your neighbor has video, let us know so we can get a copy of that. We understand that video has a finite life, and sometimes systems will start recording over themselves. So we started that process very, very early in the investigation.
Why ask the public for additional help with this white car?
Well, through our tips, through our leads, some of the evidence that came in, we start to identify patterns. And like we said earlier, we are confident that the occupant or occupants of that vehicle have information that's critical to this investigation. We also understand that even though there's sometimes a fascination with a particular case, some people simply don't see the news and may not know that we're looking for it. So if we get the word out there, hey, maybe your neighbor has one in the garage that they don't drive very often. Maybe there's one that's just not on the registration database. Let us know. So far, we have a list of approximately 22,000 registered white Hyundai Elantras that fit into our criteria that we're sorting through. That's an awful lot of information, but it may not be all of them. So the public can help us with that.
Okay. I'll just move it right over to the next one. Are you going to be okay, Dreamcatcher? Oh my gosh. Blood thinners. Is it the shots? Are they making you do the Lovenox? Is it Lovenox shots? I hope it's not the shots. I hope it's just like I mean, if it's anything, I hope it's just a medication. I don't even want you to be on that. Man. I wonder how many crack coroners called in. I wonder how many people called in and they were sent on like a wild goose chase. Like, you know, the car that was found in the state over, and they had to come out and say, like, you know, that has nothing to do with this case. The Mustang has nothing to do with this case. So, Eliquist, is that like medication form, a pill form? I don't know. I was on blood thinners after my car accident, because I couldn't walk. Like, I wasn't walking over 500 steps a day, so I had to do blood thinners twice a day, shots, and my mom had to give them to me, and there was not an inch to pinch at the time on my stomach. Like, it was so crazy. I had like nothing there to, like, you know, put the shot into, but she was always giving them to me, and she did better than the nurses. I was very proud of her. I was very proud of her. I couldn't give them to myself. I would be like, no, it's a pill form. Well, it's not any better, but still, I just don't want you to prick yourself every day either. I just remember, like, that was horrible having to do that. You know, prick your belly, and I don't know why they couldn't put it somewhere else, but they're like, your belly. And then I had a cast on my leg, and I only had to wear this cast for 3 weeks. And like 2 weeks, no, it wasn't even 2 weeks in, it was like a week in, they cut it off because they had to do a Doppler. They thought I had a blood clot in my leg. And then, so I'm walking around with this like broken cast. It was special for a day. Oh my gosh. You've been on Lovenox before, Roseanne? It is painful, isn't it? I think with me, I probably didn't feel the pain as much because all the rest of the pain, but it's not a fun experience for anyone to have to go through. So I have this one, and then I have another little short video to show you, and I'll show you that picture of Brian Koberger. He almost looks like Ted Bundy in this picture.
Of tips that have come in and leads.
We've had right around 10,000 tips come in. We're reviewing all those tips. We're checking to ensure that we have individuals who look at those tips and any piece of evidence that they can link to this case, they're doing so.
What about the video evidence? How is that reviewed? What do you do with it?
So we have a special team of individuals who are skilled at watching videos, collecting evidence and information out of those videos, and linking them together so that we can tie every piece together for this investigation.
What do you have for an update about the white Hyundai Elantra?
We have many tips that have come in on the 2011 to the 2013 Hyundai Elantra. But what we're asking is anybody else who still hasn't sent in a tip, if you own one or if you know somebody who was driving one the day before or the day after, to please send that tip in.
What about the holidays? What does that mean for the investigation and all the people working on it?
That does not change anything for us. We're going to continue to push through the holidays. We have a team that will continue to do the investigation and work on that as we move through the holidays.
And finally, why is it important to keep digital submissions part of the investigation as it's sorted through?
Well, as our individuals are sorting through that, all that information could be one key piece for this investigation. So they're reviewing all that, they're looking at that, and they're looking for any keys that tie together any specific investigative pieces that we need to solve this case.
Okay.
So it's now been.
Hey, stop that. I want to play that next time. So not this time, because that's after the arrest. So this is what's getting us caught up into Kohlberger's, arrest. So we'll be all set for next live, but it's going to be a good one. I have a podcast and stuff that I found. That's really good. I just have to put some pictures behind it for us.
So I know there's been some questions about the leadership in this investigation. What I want people to know is this is a Moscow Police Department investigation. We're utilizing the resources of the FBI and state police, but we pick the investigators. My command team oversees this. We have 94 years of experience between us, and we're going to continue to work this case. We're going to continue to work it to the completion. We have a lot of resources that we're utilizing, but we still ask for your help. We ask for any tips that you might have, anything that you might be able to give us. We're going to take a look at those. But be assured that this investigation is the Moscow Police Department's, and I am the chief, and we're going to follow through with this and just just know that from the very beginning of this, we've been a unified group and we make decisions together. But those ultimately, I stand behind at the end. I'd like to update you on our.
I like that at the end. That's a good way to put it. No, Wiz, I had to leave your comment up there so I could remember. Okay, so someone came in here one night and they were under the name Brian Kohlberger, and I didn't think about it. Like I was like, oh, it's a troll, you know? And so like I put their thing up, like I put yours up. Okay, so when I see you, I see beautiful, right? What I saw that night was a picture of Brian Kohlberger. Like it looked like a headshot of him. And I was like, oh, like all you hear me do is go, oh, like that on the live because it scared me. Because I wasn't picturing pulling up of everybody in the world, like a picture of Brian Kohlberger looking back at me. And I was just like, oh, how about that? How about that? Speaking of which, we haven't seen Papa Rogers' son in here tonight. Surprised he doesn't come and make a cameo appearance. Okay, so I'm going to show you this picture, and it's going to be really close up. So I'm warning you. This is from the other day when he was in court. Now, do we think he's trimming these eyebrows down? This is a really close-up picture. When I saw this, I was like, ooh. Some reason I remember that. Yeah, I was like, oh, my lordy. Brian Kohlberger's here. But yeah, so I was like, oh, I might scare him if I put that up there. If I give you nightmares tonight, I'm sorry. But did you guys see when he walked into court? I'm going to have to play that on our next live. When he walked in, we're not supposed to judge. We're not supposed to judge because we won't have, they might not put cameras in there if we judge. So don't let anyone see this. Don't let anyone see me judging. But when he walked in, he did his like half little smile, like smirk, kind of like, I think he does that to like address the, like his attorneys and stuff. And then he went like, almost like you saw his chest go up a little bit and down. Like he was almost like he was like, this is going to be a day, like getting ready. I'll have to go back and play that for you guys. But yeah, this is a picture, isn't it? Maybe I should put this on my thing. And maybe I should put this and put a black face mask on it. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll do that when I have some time tomorrow. We'll do it on our members live or something. We'll put like a mask on Kohlberger. His right eye. Mine's my left eye. I have a little bit of a lazy eye on my left one. And I remember I was pissed because I lost my right one. And I was like, man, I had to lose the good one too. So I told my mom. I was like, I lost the good one. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, this one's like lazier. You can't tell, I mean, now, but just a little bit. Maybe it's from that visual snow. And that's the thing. Okay. Oh, that's a thing. I wonder if the prosecution is going to bring up his visual snow and bring up that you shouldn't be driving around at night with visual snow. Like you shouldn't be doing that. They should bring Murphy in the courtroom. I bet you he'd sit in the witness stand. I really do, because he's like a good dog. They do look thinner and lighter. Yes, there is something different about his brows. I don't know if Ann Taylor has got him a jailhouse beautician. Like, is the chaplain the guy, or the guy that, the preacher guy, is he doing Brian's hair? But I'm wondering if they're going to bring up that visual snow. I just thought of it. Because he's saying he's driving around, but when you have visual snow, it's like you shouldn't be driving like that. Like it's not just like some prescription glasses and you're good to go. So he has swagger. He thinks he does. They're trying to make him, I guess a lot of people were like really upset that he got to wear a suit. But I mean, put him in a suit, put him in a monkey suit. I don't care what he's in, as long as they've got the evidence against him. Murphy would probably growl at him, PKC. That would be, bring Murphy in and see how Murphy acts. That'd be so sad. I feel bad for that dog. Because like, in my opinion, little Murphy, they say that, and I know this isn't true, but I'm going to say it's true this time. They say that dogs' memories only last like a couple weeks. So I'm hoping that the only memory that he has, the last memory he has of Kaylee is like just maybe her closing the door and smiling at, Murphy. That's what I pray. Because I don't want to see dogs that sad. I don't want to see people sad. I don't want to see anyone sad. If you go over to Murphy Gonzalez, though, on Instagram, he has a huge social following. I like to think I helped contribute to that in the beginning of when he first got his social platform. But I always get their pictures and stuff. They had a new picture of Murphy on there the other day. He looked so cute. The caption was, "We have the whole lake to ourselves," or something like that. And it was him and Jack. So it was really cute. They were camping or something. But he does look like kind of Bundy in this one. I think it's that smile, that smirky smile. I think that's what it is. Yeah. Assigned emotional support dog. My dogs are emotional support dogs. They drag me around the apartment complex that we live in. It's crazy. Yeah, they're definitely like brushed down. There's something going on with the eyebrows. But Murphy, raise your right paw. Ruff. That's cute. He would too. I mean, what if that is like one of the key pieces of evidence in this case? Like, what if they're like, we don't have blood? That was Kohlberger's blood on the mattress pad and on the pillow. I could say, that sounds plausible. But that animal hair, where'd you get that from, buddy? And I mean, like, their hair, those are like hairs. I know, Steve, don't say that. I know they're not. Because my mom went to the hospital for like a year and a half and she came home and my dog was like, oh my God, she's home finally. Like, my dog freaked. So I know that they do have more of a memory. I think it's when they first take them from their mom. Or maybe my mom just told me that as a kid. She could have. I could have believed that. Because like as a kid, maybe I was sad when I would get a dog, like a puppy, and I'd say, oh, I'm taking it from its mom. So maybe my mom just told me that. It could have been. And I could have been running with this for 37 years because I do believe the dogs do have a longer memory. I mean, I have video of my dog. She makes the most horrendous screaming noise. Oh my God. I can't even tell you what it sounds like. It's high pitched. It's not a bark. It's like a woo, woo, like that. She sounds like a fire, like she sounds like a fire truck coming. And she's so loud and it's so like piercing to your ears. It sounds like she's crying. She's just so happy. She's just so damn happy to see us. She thought we left her forever. When we dropped her off for vacation the first time, the whole way home, she was doing that and crying. I mean, there was tears, there was everything. I was like in the car, like trying to hold her and I didn't know what to do. I was like, I'm so sorry, Mimi. I felt so bad for her. Her name's Mia. I call her Mimi now because of Alec Murdoff trial, calling his son Paw Paw. Now I shorten her name. You think because the audio would be muffled? Probably. She's thinking ahead. Because someone said they thought it was because of strep throat, but you wouldn't wear a mask because of strep throat. And when she was with, like, she had the mask on, she was still talking and like breathing on the lady because like she was like still really like in her face. I'm like, the mask ain't working for you. But I'm going to jump off of here. I said tonight I was going to do an hour and a half live because I was like going to start making them shorter. That way, people want to watch the whole live. And we've been on for 3 hours. We're so bad. But we do that. That's what happens. And I did put the tab and like the thing in there. I hope you guys grabbed it for the Moscow site if you guys wanted to like look over anything on there. I do have a really huge request. I got 163 people still in here, so 165. Okay, I have a really big request for you guys. Please, please, please. I don't usually ask you guys to watch my videos. Like I'm not usually like, please, but this one is so important. This one is going to come out tomorrow. It's an update on Madalena Kojikari. She's a missing 11-year-old. She would have been 12 now, or she is 12 now because we don't know where she's at. She's missing. Out of North Carolina, Cornelius, North Carolina. She has zero family here looking for her. Her mom, her stepdad are in jail for failure to report a child missing, just like Lori Vallow. They didn't produce the child. It's like the same thing, except for there's no grandparents fighting for the child. There's a grandparent now that's come out. Grandma Kojikari, I'd like to call her. Mamaw Kojikari is taking up for her daughter. saying that her daughter was trafficked and her granddaughter for $5 million, but Diana's still here. The only person missing is Madalena. Y'all, I did really good on that video. I kept my cool, but when I start talking about it, I just get really, it's something near and dear to my heart. We need to find her, you know? So if you guys could just watch it, like it, comment, share it on your platforms, do whatever you want with it. You got my permission, just, you know, don't do nothing mean to it, but you know what I mean. Share it on all your platforms. I'm going to schedule it to go live tomorrow around like, 10 or 11 in the morning. So it'll be there like all day. So I want to make sure, I get her like little voice heard. Oh, thank you. Oh, thanks, Danielle. Just quiet tonight, taking a little break. I understand that. Well, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody being here. I really do. I know it's Saturday. You guys could be out doing whatever you guys do, but you're here with me. So I thank you guys for that. I think we'll do a members only live tomorrow. Maybe we'll do a small members only like in the afternoon, and then maybe I'll come back and we'll do Long Island because Nancy Grace came out with a new podcast, and I don't know if they've connected him to 4 in Vegas or that's what they're working on, but I was reading about that and I was like, whoa. So that could be really good. So I will be on tomorrow. Nancy said good night. She's still smiling. She always smiles. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Bye, guys.